It's the finale of like 500 Stones, episode 20, right here on the video store. And please don't forget to go and buy their shit. They're just two cool guys. They enjoy money sweet. Because this song is great. This one sucks way too high. Way too high. Anyways, the list goes. Doesn't really matter to us. J.K. That was so fun to do. Yeah. We're here, Andrew. It's the finale.
I cannot believe we actually lasted this long, and we have not gotten canceled yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But, so I'm going to take that out and get this all set up. Guys, welcome to Like 500 Stones. It is the list finale. We finally made it. It is about time. Brooklyn, are you as excited as I am?
I am excited. Shit has been bought. Please go buy their shit. Or our shit, I guess. But yeah, this has been like us. This has been a show 475 songs in the making. Let's see how these last 25 play out.
I'm super excited. We have a lot of special guests for you today. A lot of familiar faces, some new faces as well. But let's start off with one of our favorite Canadians.
Hey,
Dylan.
Hey,
what's
how
up,
you doing?
Dylan? Good. How are you?
That was a pretty great intro, I gotta say. That was
yeah. Thanks. All him. I just lip sank really, really poorly. So
both lip sync really poorly.
That's teamwork right there. Let's get this thing started. Where aren't you coming up? There you are. All right. So
yeah, I was there.
Oh, I'm. What a great start to this episode, right, folks? Okay. So there you are. All right. So last time we left off on Joni Mitchell's "A Case of You." Dylan, do you know anything about this song? Have any thoughts on this one before we move on?
So I wasn't sure if I was going to be talking about it today or not, but I listened to it like just before we started, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a Joni Mitchell song about Canada that like isn't really written by Joni Mitchell. It's from it's weird. It's from James Taylor's perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So with that being said, we're going to move on to number 25. No, not 24. Get out of here. Number 25.
Oh God, so scared there.
Surprise, bitch! Number 25, Runaway, Kanye West, featuring Pusha T, a.k.a. King Push.
Yes.
Dylan, what are your thoughts on this song?
Oh, I fucking love this song. Like, this is, for me, this album, first of all, this is one of the moments that kind of pissed me off the most in the show. I think it was in the first episode where there was a bit of slander thrown on this album. I feel like this album in general is like him sort of catching lightning in a bottle, I feel like, where this is my favorite album of his, where it's like just before he went completely off the deep end and started making music that I'm not a huge fan of. And I feel like he really captured all of like the turmoil and like the messiness of his life and just this one like snapshot of his mind on this whole album. And it's like super operatic. This song is like basically like the centerpiece of it, where it's like 9 minutes long. Some could argue it's a bit like self-indulgent, especially at the end, where it's like basically 3 whole minutes of just instrumental noodling, I guess. But it's I just love the song. I find it super catchy. I love the piano that runs through the whole song. I'm a huge fan of Pusha T also. Like, he's one of my favorite rappers, I'd say. Like, especially like his new album, It's Almost Dry, is amazing if you haven't heard that. But
yes, it is.
Yeah, and he has probably my favorite line on this whole song, with the Ichabod Crane line, where it's like Ichabod Crane with that motherfucking top off, which is just such an awesome line. But yeah, I love this song a lot. Yeah.
Brooklyn, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love the piano beat. And why I think this song is up here is how it uses that piano beat and it recontextualizes it in the outro. The outro actually serves a purpose. Cough, cough. Derek and the Dominoes, Layla, cough, cough. Like
Jesus
so
Christ.
like in the actual in the like original mix or whatever, or like in the actual part of the song, the piano is like on the one beat. But then whenever you get into that noodling part, or as I like to call, Kanye, what do you want to do? Can you throw effects on my voice and make it sound like a guitar solo? But they put that piano beat on the 4, and I think the strings, at the end really kind of work. Also, like you get into the chorus, like let's have a toast to the douchebags, have a toast for the assholes. Like you could argue that that's self-indulgent, but it's also very like honest and humiliating, kind of reflective. But yeah, 25 I think is a bit too high considering where was Gold Digger on this list?
It wasn't.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
This
Gold
is better
Digger,
than Gold Digger.
Was Touch the Sky on the list?
No, it wasn't. I would actually put
That's
that
rough. That's like my favorite song
Yeah.
of his.
I think the only other one was Stronger.
Yeah, Stronger kicked off the show.
I'm actually not a fan of that one. All that much.
That one's good. Yeah, that one's cool.
It's overplayed. It is overplayed, or like it was overplayed in the time.
Yeah. I love this song. I think that really what does really raise it for me is that ending, because it's somehow just the most emotional gut punch that the song could have ended on, because it's just kind of him wailing. It's almost like a guttural like moment that's just captured through music, and I think that's just a really creative and powerful choice. And a lot of this is just great. Like, this is some of Kanye's best work when it comes to flow. Push is just amazing. I agree with you. Push is one of my favorite rappers at the moment as well. I once again, go listen to that album. Fantastic. That ending, just perfect. But yeah, a little high. 75. I think if this was at like 75, I would be a lot more okay with this. Otherwise, it's a great song, deserves to be on the list.
It's got to be easily the biggest gap. Like we were talking about Stronger earlier. Easily the biggest gap in songs. Like there hasn't been anything in between.
Yeah, I don't think that there has been. Dylan, are those his best 2 songs?
Which ones?
No.
Stronger and Runaway.
No, Runaway. I praised it a lot, but I wouldn't even put it in like my favorites from this album. Like, I love Devil in a New Dress is like one of my favorite sample flips that Kanye's ever done. But yeah.
All right. Well, Dylan, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We're hoping to do more things in the future, and we'll hopefully have you on again. So have a good night, buddy. All right. So with that, we're going to move on to our next guest, which is one Scott Harvey Esquire.
Hey guys,
how you doing?
Congratulations on making it this far. It was a noble endeavor, and I'm glad to see that you guys made it to the end.
Thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
With that, we're going to move on to number 24, which is A Day in the Life by, oh my God, my finger keeps sticking. I was doing some construction work earlier. I still have some glue on my fingers. A Day in the Life by the Beatles. Scott, what are your thoughts on this song?
Yeah, so I feel like I've mentioned it on the couple episodes I've been on of the regular podcast, and I feel like they did some weird things with the placement of Beatles songs on this list. However, I don't think this was a weird one. I would have expected this one to be where it is. I think it regularly shows up in most like greatest songs of all time lists. While it's not my favorite Beatles song, or maybe even one of my favorites, I get it why it is on the list this high. I think lyrically is why it's not necessarily one of my favorites, because it's a lot of John just like doing weird philosophizing that like I don't know exactly what all of it means. And if you actually even look into the backdrop of the song, Yeah, like Paul and John like even have some disagreements about what the song is even about. So that tells you right there. But sonically, like this is such a great like microcosm of what the Beatles can be. Um, it has that really sort of hazy, dreamy, like again, John's section contrasted with Paul's section in the middle that is like has like the jaunty piano and whatnot, and he's talking about, oh, got out of bed, and just like kind of doing like a day in the life type, thing.
There it is.
And it's
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's the
I
It's
didn't
like a
title.
even
title.
intend to do I literally didn't even intend that, but no, it's cool because it's like juxtaposing who the two of them were. Again, John with like his verses being more of like the avant-garde, like philosophy type stuff, and then Paul just being kind of the everyman, like talking about going about his day, working class Liverpool, kid. Um, and then like structurally, it's cool too because it's like you have John's verse, you have Paul's verse, and then you have John again, and it builds at the end like it's about to go back into Paul's section, and then it just like turns into this like cacophony, like it's like the two styles colliding almost, and it's just this noise, and there's like horns, and then all of a sudden you just hear that one final piano chord, and that is like the final note of the song and the final note of the entire album, and it's like a perfect way to end it again with like these two forces meeting there at the end, and then ending in this simple note basically. Yeah, so it's a really cool song. It's not one of my favorite Beatles songs, but I get why it belongs on the list, and I think it's just a great, you could show this to somebody who doesn't know who the Beatles is and they would get a great taste for who they were.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if I were to pick one Beatles song to represent them on this list, if I could only pick one, this is probably the one I pick. Because this is probably like everything encapsulated in one song about the Beatles. The lyricism of both John and Paul, but they're both different styles being captured in one. The being able to transition so seamlessly from John to Paul, back to John, back to that. In, Scott put it best: cacophonous ending that ends in this one beautiful statement. That's just that one dun dun, and just holding on that for like a long period of time. I think 24 is probably the right spot on this list for this. Brooklyn, what about you?
So yeah, I agree with a lot of what you guys said. Like when Scott was talking about the dichotomy, I guess, of John and Paul's different writing styles. John's very much like the dreamer, and Paul is very kind of to the bones, and like the more personal, I guess. Depending on what day you ask me, this is my favorite Beatles song. I flip flop between this and Get Back. I think if I was to throw on a Beatles song, I would like just one. I would probably throw in Get Back, just because for this one, I don't think there's enough of George to classify it as like a true Beatles song. What I like about this though, and even listening to Another Drive Home, I was like, I kind of understand why it was called Day in the Life, because it has that initial dream sequence, and then it has Paul waking up. But I never understood what that first verse was kind of meant to be. But like they're really saying that like the day, like in the song A Day in the Life, it starts at like the day starts at midnight, so it starts with that initial kind of like dream sequence. He wakes up. There's a line, and the line that Paul says that really kind of turned that kind of thematic idea up, was found my way upstairs and had a smoke, and somebody spoke, and I went into a dream. And then you have John come in just kind of like with these like oohs and ahs, and then I was like, oh, it's kind of a cool way to like contextualize the title for the song. But that chord is great. But I think what makes this record in general kind of cool is if you have the vinyl and you get to the very end, and even on this song as well, the kind of like descent into madness. Like John is speaking like a little bit of gibberish, but it was kind of meant to be where if you didn't take the needle off of it, that it would just repeat that over and over and over again. But yeah, also, if you haven't listened to this record, please go check it out. There's a lot of great songs on here. When I'm 64, She's Leaving Home, one of my favorites, A Little Help from My Friends. But yeah, 24, I think as a Beatles fan, might be a bit too high. I think top 50 for sure, but top 25 is maybe stretching it.
Cool. Scott, any last words?
Better. Abbey Road's still better than Sgt. Pepper, but it's you're talking about
there's a legit argument between Sgt. Pepper's, Abbey Road, and Revolver.
Yes, agreed.
And the White Album. The Beatles were good.
The White Album's got Obla Di Obla Da on it. Let's go. Let's calm down.
There is no slander of Obla Di Obla Da.
Okay, yeah, no.
Thank you, Mr. Producer Man.
Host the show by yourself.
Thank you, Scott Harvey, for coming. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the show.
We'll hopefully see you again soon. All right. So with that, we're going to move on to our next song, which is number 23, David Bowie with Heroes. So we had someone who was going to come on with us. They unfortunately could not make it. They did send us a video to play, and I will start sharing that as soon as I can. There it is. Come on. And there we go. Oh no, I didn't hit the share audio. No, this is going so well. No. All right. Technical difficulties, everybody. Thank you for
One clap of Metal Stones, episode 20, song 23, take 2, marker, everybody in place. Andrew, do you need makeup and hair again?
I'm sweating like crazy, so maybe. No, never mind. Okay. Oh God, please play for me.
Come on.
Oh God, please play for me.
Come on, acknowledge. Some of the Canadians will understand that joke.
So the song that I was given to talk about for this final episode is number 23 on Rolling Stone's Top 500, which is Heroes by David Bowie. I think it's a very fitting song to have been given, seeing as how on the one full-length episode of the show that I got to be on, the very first song that I talked about was Station to Station by David Bowie. And number 2, this song is heavily featured in one of my all-time favorite movies, which is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I've loved this song for a very long time, and I'm very happy to get to talk about it. I adore this song. I think this song is absolutely beautiful. Just the story that it's able to tell, the story of two people who are in love despite truly the most difficult of circumstances, and their love being so powerful that nothing can keep them apart, nothing can tear them away from each other, nothing can stop them, and that like the love that people share for each other is powerful enough to defeat these so-called evils, these things that are getting in the way, that it makes them heroes in the eyes of the person performing the song, in the eyes of David Bowie, I think is just a really beautiful message. I think it's incredibly heartfelt. I think it's incredibly beautiful, knowing the backstory of it and how it relates specifically to like the Berlin Wall and people literally being kept apart and not being able to see the people they love. It just hits so hard and so beautifully. I think Bowie's voice and his performance and his singing on the song is absolutely fantastic. I think he's doing a phenomenal job, as he does with everything that he does. Just the guitar and the production on it is absolutely fantastic. I think like that guitar riff is iconic for a reason. That solo near the end of the song is fantastic. Just altogether like wonderful. Yeah, I adore this song. The song absolutely deserves to be in the top 500 for sure. I like top 25. I have no problems with it. There are a lot of amazing David Bowie songs, and like I'm just happy that he's represented at all. He is one of the all-time greats, one of my favorite artists of all time, and I am super happy to see this song in the top 25 and to get about it.
Thanks, Cam.
Thank you so much, Cam, for sending that in. Brooklyn, what are your thoughts on this song?
Heroes is really cool. I agree with Cam and how the perks of being a wallflower really kind of drove this up, and how it's contextualized there. My favorite part of this is like the bass line in the chorus, like that doom 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 doom, and how it kind of builds up. I think that gives it an added layer of emotion and whatnot, and it's one of the not one of the rare instances, but he's even having that build with his voice, because like you have that like lower kind of whispery delivery that he gives in the start of like I will be king, and then you get to the end whenever he's like whenever he's just wailing, we can be heroes for just one day. I think it's great. Like the guitar in this is solid and clean. 23 I think is justifiable. I know we talked about this way back when we were talking about best albums of the 70s, and this one came up. So deserving.
Yeah, it's nice to see this song up here. It's nice to see Bowie. It's really nice to see Brian Eno again, because my God, I love that man. This song is absolutely incredible. I think Cam hit it on the nose about how just beautiful these lyrics are, especially as, like, once again, as Cam said, when you bring up like the Berlin Wall. And I think the other thing I love about the song the most is the build. The build is incredible. It starts off at like already great pace, but then it just keeps chugging along, and it just keeps building steam and picking up speed and just like building power. And it's done in such a magnetic way that it's just this incredible sonic masterpiece. I'm really happy with it being number 23 personally. But with that being said, we are going to move on to the next song, number 22. And oh look, it's an Ethan Beller.
Hi.
Hello, it's an Andrew and Brooklyn.
It's an Ethan Beller. It's the only Ethan Beller.
Probably not true, but I appreciate it.
You are the only one in our hearts, Ethan.
Well, that's kind of you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, very much so. The song we're going to talk about with Ethan is number 22, "Be My Baby" by the Ronettes. Ethan, what are your thoughts on this song?
Well, my first thoughts are, I'll just recap what our messages were like when you sent me my song. You sent me this, and I said, "Oh, good, you sent me one of the best songs ever written," because it really is one of the best songs ever written. I love this song for, I don't know, however long ago I heard it, and then like it's one of those songs you hear and you kind of, I could play it over and over again because it's so short. It's like 2 minutes 20 seconds or something, but it's like it gets in, it gets out, it's perfect, and you want more of it. It's one of the catchiest songs ever written, but not in like that cheap kind of catchy, like, you know, I haven't listened to a ton of pop from the 60s, but you know, it feels really special, even though I'm sure it was like, you know, similar to other pop music. Written by a true monster, you know, Phil Spector.
Yes.
Great writer.
Yeah.
Great writer. The song's beautiful. I love it. I love how it builds slowly, and then like that ending of the song is just like a big crescendo. It's really nice.
Brooklyn.
I agree with Ethan in that the song is timeless. It'll never get old. The drums, how they kind of bring everything in. This is one of the best songs of backing vocals, and just how they really kind of give the song depth. And it's crazy to think like how many times "baby" is used in this song, and it doesn't feel old. It's not like the Ted Mosby equivalent of "bowl." It's
Justin Bieber, "Eat Your Heart Out."
Yeah. I don't attach, or sorry, not that I don't attach. Of the songs like that we're talking about in this list, it's not the one that I like immediately go back to. But I think top 25 is absolutely earned. Because this is probably like the best, like one of the best Motown songs. The only other one that I would put in that conversation is "You Can't Hurry Love" by the Supremes.
Another great song. I put this one up above that, but those are both two good songs.
honestly, I think I put Ethan on this one. I think I put this one above that. And I think what it is it's the production. It's pristine. Like that wall of sound is some of the best wall of sound you will ever hear in like a 60s pop song. Um, it kind of the layering in it is just magnificent. Like with the backing of be my baby. And I'm forgetting the lead singer's Ronnie Bennett. Um, her just like her wailing, be my pretty baby. Melodically speaking, like everything is layered in such a way that it falls into like multiple pockets, and it's just such an easy but beautifully interesting and really I the word I had it and it slipped me, but the craftsmanship on the song is just absolutely fantastic, and they sound amazing. The melodies are fantastic. It's a fantastic song. How many times can I say fantastic? Ethan, any last song thoughts on this song?
Yeah, I guess just it's like a perfect pop song. It's not anything. It's not trying to be anything like super deep. It's not it's not like this like big like lyrical masterpiece. It's just like a perfect song that conveys a feeling, and I could listen to it over and over again.
Absolutely. Ethan, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully we'll do more things in the future, and we'd love to have you on again.
Oh yeah,
Thanks, Ethan.
definitely.
All right. Have a good night, bud. All right. With that, we're actually going to move on to number 21, Strange Fruit by Billie Holiday. It's just going to be us for this one because this is a song with a difficult subject matter. Yeah. But it's important. It's a very important song. So the strange fruit, unfortunately, in this song, are dead black people, hung, lynched, and the poetry in the lyrics are just they create such powerful imagery that you can't help to be shaken by it. And the way that Billie Holiday sings, it resonates in your bones. It's just such an emotional, powerful piece that I'm shocked wasn't on the 2010 list. Because this is a song that I think is not only important to music, but to American culture. Brooklyn.
Yeah, I was a little worried probably like a couple days before like before this we're recording or whatever, because I still hadn't really like listened to the lyrics. Like I listened to it as like, oh, this ballady jazz tune. The horns are really nice in it, and the piano's great. And I was initially like, in the intro, you could almost go into like Patsy Cline's "Crazy," which is really upbeat. But then I got to the line. I got to the line, "Black body swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees." I was like, "Holy shit, this is dark, but like it's accurate. It's true. It's something that we can't hide from in any way, shape, or form." Definitely deserves to be in the top 25. This could very well be higher. This probably should go up into the top 15.
I honestly put it in the top 10.
Considering this is a song from the 30s, and it doesn't sound like it's from the 30s. Like you could easily throw this into a 60s mix. But yeah, I would have loved to have been around when this song got released. And as unfortunate as it is to say this, but on like the pushback that it would have got from some really racist pieces of shit, and then be like, no, this song is going to hold the test of time. I'm very glad that I was able to hear this for the first time because of this list. I don't know if I ever would have found it Otherwise, but yeah, a great song that should be higher next time around.
Brooklyn, I'm sad. Mr. Producer Man, do we have anyone backstage who's just like makes me happy to say, oh my gosh,
Really?
Kelly, how you doing,
Thanks for
Kelly?
having me back. I'm doing good. I've been like 500 Stories. This film is put in front of a live studio audience, so I've been able to enjoy everything from backstage so far. So thank you for having me on.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming on. Let's find out what song you're talking about. Dancing on My Own by Robin, a song that's on the complete opposite end of the music spectrum. Kelly, what are your thoughts on this one?
I like this one. I definitely am a big fan of an unrequited love song. That's my sick jam, it seems to be. But what I really like in this one is the mix of Robin's. She's got a really soft voice. It's not a big powerhousey voice, especially on this one. It's a soft, gives me the ABBA, don't mean to be that person, but it gives me the ABBA vocals where it's not like the big power notes, but and then you got that driving electronic beat behind it with some of the most beautiful lyrics, because these lyrics are so evocative. Like, you just, even if you haven't been, if you have been in the situation where you've seen someone kissing someone else that you like really like, it is heartbreaking. But if you haven't been in that exact situation, you understand the feeling of it all, because it just puts you in the scenery. And the other line I really love is stilettos and broken bottles. I was like, oh, just things like that. It just especially because this is 2010, so like this is my going out years. So I've definitely danced to this one. And I love a song that has that juxtaposition of really sad but really happy music. That is always a winning combination. So I like this one a lot. There's also some really amazing covers of it. So I think it's a good test of a song if you can have good covers of it, if it's not just the original artist. So I really like the Callum Scott version from The X Factor. It's probably the one I've heard more because I love the piano on it. Yes, jump in.
I'll talk about that one after you're done.
Okay, nearly done.
That was so great. Okay.
I'm ready for it. But no, as I said, it's the lyrics of this one. A bit high. I can't say I wasn't really surprised when I saw the placement of it. As we just talked about an amazing classic song, and we use the word stands the test of time. I don't know if I can say the same about this one. I think it belongs more in the hundreds range, but I really like it. And I'm liking seeing such modern songs on the list. Like, this list has really reflected a more modern take. There's much less reverence for the classics is what I've noticed on the whole. So it's funny, but yeah, good song. Like it.
Yeah. The more I hear this song, the more it becomes one of my all-time favorites. That glitchy, driving electronic beat and rhythm, that kind of production, to make that stick and be so memorable is hard. And for it to last as long as it has and still sound as good as it did then is even harder. I think it's fantastic. The lyrics in this song are fantastic. I love them. The chorus in particular, I'm in the corner watching you kiss her. Oh, I know I've had that moment. And hearing that line just like drives a stake through your heart. You immediately feel what she's feeling. And Robin just sounds amazing on this song. Like, the melody that she's carrying, it as you said, it's not powerful, like vocally speaking, but okay. It's not
Tonally speaking. Tonally speaking, it's strong.
Getting that out of here. Yeah, tonally speaking, but man, the way that she delivers the line is what makes this song so strong. She's delivering them in such an honest, earnest way. You can hear her voice screaming as she's holding herself back. I think that this is fine where it is. I think that's going to surprise a lot of people, but I think 20 is a good spot for this. Brooklyn, tell me I'm crazy.
You're kind of crazy, but I'm not really sure. This is a weird song for me, because like this was like I'm in the right age frame for this, but I'm sure I've heard this song a million times, but never put like Robin and Dancing on My Own like to this. I was going over this section with a friend, and this song came up, and he was like, "Oh, this is like this is deserving so," because you were mentioning Kelly like of all the covers and whatnot. And I think that does it. But as somebody who doesn't really have an idea of who Robin is or what they're doing, the paragraph in here grabs me with the first four words: Swedish disco queen Robin. And I was like, all right, you have my attention. I'm going to go explore this artist and all of their records, because if they are anything similar to ABBA, the ultimate Swedish disco queens and kings, then it should be pretty all right.
I do want to bring up the Callum Scott cover of this real quick, since only because Kelly brought it up. I hate that cover so much. It takes away the energy that this song has, because like having it be like this soft whimpering ballad, it makes me kind of go, dude, kind of get over it. Like, get over it. You're stalking her at this point. Because it doesn't drop you in the setting of being in a club, a place where you're supposed to be enjoying yourself and loving the moment. And then suddenly you see this thing and you're like, fuck, I hate my life. That's why I don't like that version, but that's just my 2 cents. Kelly, I'm so happy that you love that though, because I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong. I can't do that.
Good, because it's not true.
Fight. But Kelly, thank you so much for coming on. We always
thank you for coming on, Kelly.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of the show. I can't wait to see it.
All right, have a good night or day, whatever time it is.
I was going to be like, Australia doesn't know what time it is. If it's night, it's sometime over there.
Sun time, yeah. All right, moving on to number 19, John Lennon's Imagine. So once again, this is another moment where I'm going to take that out because we have I said remove, darn it. Mr. Producer Man just is sitting back there, chomping on a cigar, making me do all the hard work today. Right. So,
like the lone kind of piano to start it off. It's one that every piano player learns. It's in kind of the climax of the 60s, which is very, very protesty, anti-war. It is the ultimate hippie song, I guess you would say. But like one of the better choruses, I guess, like of the songs we're talking about. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. If there was another John Lennon song that I could throw on here, it is Merry Xmas / War is Over. I think that is one of the better Christmas songs, and I think just because of how different it is. But yeah, I was kind of amazed that Yoko has writing credits on this, because I think a lot of us immediately think of Yoko as somebody that like kind of like brought down John and kind of brought down the Beatles. But I guess she contributed something to this. Let's see what Koho has to say.
Hello, everyone here at Like 500 Stones. I am Caleb, you know me, and I am talking about Imagine by John Lennon. I think this is one of the best written songs ever. I think this might be John Lennon's best song. Well, I mean on his own, it's not a contest, but like in terms of his entire discography, I think it's simple, and I think that's the best part about it, is that it's a very easy, mellow, really touching, beautiful song that I think speaks to all of us. I think it's a universal, almost like a prayer in a song for the human race. I think it's brilliant. I think it's fantastic. John Lennon's vocals are great. I think his songwriting lyricism is great, and I totally understand why it's this high on this list. I would put it pretty high myself. I don't know where this is in relation to other Beatles songs, because I think Beatles music typically I would put higher than any of their solo projects. But if any solo Beatles song is going to make the list, it has to be this one. I think this is the best one by far.
At some point. I really like Imagine as well. It is a beautiful song. It's a very simple song, but it is very effective in its simplicity. And I think that the drums in this are not talked about enough. Very simple drum pattern, but where it's placed in the mix, it's very effective. Yeah. All right. With that, hopefully this works out. This next video works out a lot better. Oh, hey, look, it's Jake Marangoni.
Hey, Jake.
It's me, and it's almost 9 a.m. There you go, Kelly.
All right, Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Yeah, we had to talk about one of the greatest songs ever written. Just
one of the greatest movies.
Also,
how dare you?
Look at it! Look at it! It's so good.
Jake, you're excited. I'm going to let you talk.
Very excited. I guess the greatest secret in this community is that I fucking love Prince. He's maybe my favorite artist. He's definitely up there for sure. And Purple Rain is his magnum opus, hands down. Like it is his signature song. It is his number one song. He has a few signature songs, but this is definitely like the one people remember him for. Also, I don't know. I don't know how I even like hear it for the first time, because I became kind of a big Prince fan after he had died. Unfortunately, because that's when he's I kind of like I was becoming I was older, and I started like listening to other music and kind of discovering Prince that way. And listening to Purple Rain is just like, it's just like this great melancholy, beautiful sounds just coming together, and it's one of the most beautiful songs that I've ever listened to, and just kind of what it's about, and also the fact that it's just 8 minutes. It's just however long it is, and it just goes, and it just never drags, and you just kind of you go for a ride with this song, and it's just, I love it. It's just very beautiful, and kind of what it's about is sort of interesting.
Yeah. Brooklyn?
Coho's been on here before and kind of talking about how Prince is overrated, but he kind of has a point, but the only part where I'm like,
he has no point. Shut up.
No. Well, he has like half. He has like half.
No one says shit about Prince.
The other half, the half that I don't agree with him is that he's a bad guitarist. He's an incredible guitarist, and I think that's where he really gets to shine. I know it's kind of diverting off topic, but in the movie Purple Rain, I love how that intro is kind of used as the score. It's a kind of a nice underlying theme.
Yes.
This song is kind of killed now by cover artists because they kind of turned it into like a country-ish song. And for anybody who hasn't heard, it's just basically like Purple Rain, Purple Rain.
Oh, the Dwight Yoakam version.
Oh yeah, that. And anytime that I hear that song, I instantly want to mash it up with Country Roads Take Me Home, because they fit perfectly. And it's kind of crazy, but in those little like interludes, sing Almost Heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, and it fits. It's weird.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Producer Man, what the fuck is this?
To chime in, because earlier I chimed in when Doves Cry was higher than the highest Michael Jackson song in Billie Jean. And then I find out Purple Rain is going to be in the final episode. Way too high. Way too high. I get it. People love Prince's Purple Rain song, whatever. It's his best song. It's cool guitars. He's a great guitarist. I've never taken that away from him, but like, the lyricism sucks. Songs pretty written terribly. Vocals are trash. Prince sucks. Okay, sorry, guys. Prince is terrible. And one of the most overrated pop artists in the history of the genre and the history of the music industry. And the fact that he is this high on this list with his best song is this high over any Michael Jackson song, insanity. Over most of the songs in this list. I would take a lot of the songs in the top 500 over Prince. So bullshit.
Okay. Take that
He's
shit
wrong.
off screen.
How fitting that the video for co-host, the co-host supposed to be on, didn't work. But the one, hey, can you shit talk about Prince? Hold my beer, please.
There's a conspiracy going on here.
Okay, I'll start talking. If I'm allowed to, Mr. Producer Man. Go fuck yourself. No. So I think that this song is incredible. I think it is Prince's best song, and for me, it's between this and. It's gonna sound weird, but it's between this and Raspberry Beret for me.
I love Raspberry Beret.
Oh, it's so good. The guitar work in this is absolutely incredible. That ending, geez, Lou, like that's just absolutely incredible musicianship right there. And it's some of Prince's best vocal work as well. It's just like the smooth tone that he has to his voice. It's just so ethereal. And it just when you compare that with like the imagery that he's presenting with his lyrics, I think it creates this incredible sonic piece. I will say, if I had to choose between Purple Rain by Prince and the Revolution and Red Rain by Peter Gabriel, I might choose Red Rain.
Of course you're choosing Red Rain by Peter Gabriel. That's like putting a Prince song and an Elton John song up for me. I'm always going to choose Elton John.
And I'm always going to choose Prince. So we're just going to be in stalemate forever. I would say one of the best Super Bowl
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, for sure, you
Can
bitch.
I play this guitar? And then the fucking rain, it all becomes purple. It's just like perfect.
Have you ever heard?
It's one of the worst. He's one of the worst Super Bowl performances, and he's insane,
Which is crack. That is just crack.
This is like Prince. Like, come on.
Yeah. I will say before you go, I do want to share this little story. Right before his Super Bowl performance, the people like producing it went up to him and said, "Hey, it's gonna rain. Is there anything that you need in order to like make this work?" And he goes, "Can you make it rain harder?" That's such a Prince move, and I love it.
You know what's going on.
Yeah, he did. But Jake, thank you so much for coming on. As soon as someone, not me, looked at this list and saw this song here, we knew that we had to get you. So
absolutely. Anytime I talk about Prince or Alanis Morissette, Elton John, Moby, David Bowie, Fatboy Slim, just throwing it out there for everyone.
Top 10 Fatboy Slim songs. I'd be down for that.
That'd be great.
Weapon of choice, number one.
Oh, absolutely.
But thank you again, Jake, for coming. Have a great morning, man.
Thanks, Jake.
All right, and with that, we're going to move on to number 17. We are moving right along. Bohemian Rhapsody. Woo! Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. We were going to have one Cody Newberry here. Unfortunately, technical difficulties kept that from happening. Hopefully, we're watching the version of this recording where we have talked to him, but
so Bohemian Rhapsody is only 17 on the top 500. To say that the people that put this list together are incompetent is a proven fact. They make no sense with their choices. I think they just took a dart board out and started throwing darts at a board and figuring out what songs to put on here. To say Bohemian Rhapsody is not one of the greatest songs of all time is ludicrousy. It's at least top 10. I'm okay with top 10. It doesn't have to be number one. Of course, they have to stroke their own ego with putting their own stuff with whoever mentions them. But the way the song was constructed, Freddie Mercury's vocals, the impact that it's left on like media and culture, this song stands the test of time. It's amazing that it got made the way it did and how it sounds. I have no clue why this is number 17. I've seen what's 16 and I know what's like number 4. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And it's a shame. It's an absolute shame. Rolling Stones, you should be ashamed of yourself. Brooklyn and Bar, you should be ashamed of yourselves more than anybody because you have allowed to do a show that actually highlights this list, and shows its incompetence. Freddie Mercury is at 17 for Bohemian Rhapsody. Yeah, that's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Have a good one.
Like guitar solo, and then it just cuts off, and then the piano. And Andrew, I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but also a thing to ponder. The Muppets version of this, I would argue, is just as great as the Queen version. In fact,
no, stop.
when I hear the song, I go to the Swedish Chef version. Oh, for Nonini, Mamma Mia, let me go.
Jesus Christ. I do love that version, but to say that it's just as good. Look, there's someone backstage who loves the Muppets as much as me. We'll have them talk about something about that later, possibly. But with that being said, yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, it's just a masterpiece. Have we talked about any other Queen songs? I think we talked about maybe "We Will Rock You," but I can't.
I think that's it. We haven't talked about "Don't Stop Me Now." I Want to Break
Somebody
Free,
to Love,
Bicycle,
A Fat Bottom Girls. The Show Must Go On.
It's kind of magic, which I think is my favorite song from Jazz, I believe it is.
Yeah, I think so. So it's just kind of wild to me, considering how influential that they are now, that these are like the only two songs. But for this to be number 17, I totally understand. This is just so many different pieces coming together so cohesively with incredible vocal skills, beautiful melodies, soaring guitar solos, and just incredibly poetic lyrics that, even though they're kind of scattered and all over the place, it is a bunch of songs that Freddie Mercury sewed together. It still comes together as one incredible cohesive unit, and it's just a marvel to behold in that sense.
When he opens the song with like "I'm just a poor boy, I need no sympathy," that is legit tough. A peek behind the curtains, when I was doing the theme song for this, when I was doing like that main section of the line, it took me like 20 to 25 tries, because like it's so hard to get up there, but also sustain it. And I think that just kind of shows you of how strong Freddie was as a vocalist, and just how much range he had.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible range. I'm very jealous, to be completely fair. So we are going to actually move on to a previously recorded clip for our number 16 song. We got to speak to somebody ahead of time because we knew that they were not going to be here. We got to speak to Corey Duguay.
Canadian Corey Duguay.
Canadian Corey Duguay, yes, as I bring up the clip. Oh, I gotta share audio. I'm a dum-dum. Yeah, Mr. Producer Man is taking his sweet-ass time tonight. There we go.
Well, I mean, this is a big episode for Mr. Producer Man. I'm sure that he has.
Yeah, I know. You would think that he's
4 or 5 different hands.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Producer Man. I get it. So stop doing that. Okay, here we go.
I can't believe that thing that you just said about Bohemian Rhapsody. That's a terrible take.
Look, I stand by it. If it was 5-part harmony instead of 4, this would be number 1 of all time.
If your OCD needs to stop, even numbers are okay.
I stand by it. I will not allow this heresy to continue further. Speaking of heresy continuing further, let's move on to number 16. Let's bring on our next guest, Mr. Corey Duguay.
Glad to be back. Glad to be back.
Glad to see you back, especially since last time we had a very fiery episode. But let's see what you got. You have number 16, Crazy in Love by Beyonce featuring Jay-Z. Corey, what are your thoughts on this song?
For this song, I think this song had a huge impact on the music industry. I think it had a huge impact on like pop culture altogether. When it came out in 2003, and that's with pop music. That was a huge like kind of growth period where technology and equipment, stuff like that, was really advancing kind of the way that pop music is formed and made, where Beyonce, who this was her debut song as a solo artist, this was to promote her debut album as a solo artist, came out with this song that, has a heavy sample from the 1970s. The song starts off with those horns. If you hear those horns, you could hear 1 second of this song. People recognize those horns at the start as this song to this day. And I think the way that song starts, where it's so iconic, it kind of symbolizes the way that Beyonce's career, kind of the trajectory of her career after going solo. Destiny's Child was, a massive success as a female R&B group, but then Beyonce kind of went to that top tier status, all-time status, I guess you could say, when she debuted as a solo artist. And this song kind of set the base, almost for the rest of her career, I guess you could say. And in terms of like pulp culture and stuff like that, at the time, her and Jay-Z's relationship they kept it very vague. I would say almost maybe strategically at the time. And whenever this song came out, fans of these two massive fan bases dissected every single word or every single theme that might have been in that song, because they thought Beyonce and Jay-Z were trying to tell the world, a very specific story or message with this song. And I also think it kind of set up the fact that hip hop does have a place in pop music. Now, I know it's not the first time that a hip hop artist ever, teamed up with a pop artist, but it kind of went away from the very R&B feel from a lot of hip hop collaborations. And at the time too, I mean, Beyonce's coming off, her Destiny's Child, but also like her background is a very, religious kind of, not very out there in terms of her lifestyle and things like that. And I think it was just kind of her way of introducing herself and her new chapter in her career to the rest of the world. And then at the end of the day, if you hear that song and the themes from it and the samples that it's using back in 2003, it's kind of what we're still seeing in pop music from the biggest artists, such as Dua Lipa. If you think about Dua Lipa and her album, which is probably one of the most better pop albums in the last 10 years, she does use a lot of, samples from, 70s and 80s and themes from that. And then the biggest song on that pop album, has a hip hop feature at the end of it.
Some would argue that Dua Lipa album is the best album of that year, maybe of the decade.
I would, for the year, I would definitely argue that. So I think, there's a lot of influence that this song had on the music industry, especially in this century. In terms of Jay-Z as a all-time, rapping great, one thing that does kind of irk me, I guess, when hip hop artists do feature on pop songs is Beyonce takes, 3/4 of the song, kind of building up a storyline, a theme to the song, which is very clear. We understand what the song is about, what she's trying to say. And then Jay-Z just kind of hops on and talks about, being the man and slinging drugs a little bit, and then just kind of pops out. Rappers kind of tend to go away from the theme of the song they're appearing on sometimes, which I don't really get. But
yeah, this happens quite a bit.
Exactly, you know what I mean? But other than that, it's a huge hit. It was a huge hit at the time.
Take your hand away from your mouth bar. The microphone can pick you up.
A lot of people recognize it, and then they also want to continue listening to it. So I think that kind of shows the timelessness of the track.
Yeah, I just listened to this again a little while ago. You're right. That's those horns are instantly memorable. It's one of the greatest uses of a sample, like I think ever. And it's a side of Beyonce that we don't really get to see too much of anymore. I think the last time we saw like this side of Beyonce was probably Love on Top, just that head over heels infatuation. And it really does ring through incredibly well in the lyrics. I think lyrically, this is a top 5 Beyonce song, possibly top 3. And she sounds great on this. Hove sounds really good over this as well. His verse is a little jarring at some points, but not enough to distract you from the song. Super solid song. Above Bohemian Rhapsody, though, above some of the other things, I don't know. 16 maybe a little high. Top 50, sure, absolutely. 16, I'll let it slide for now.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that from definitely from like a music perspective, but I think like in terms of cultural impact and kind of the way it kind of shaped music, maybe. I mean, her and Jay-Z, Beyonce and Jay-Z have been, you know, staples in the music industry and some of the biggest artists for the last 20 years. And this is when they were making the most music. And I really think that, you know, what they did here is really kind of held an influence over they've been the standard. So the songs that they've done together have kind of been the standard within the music industry a little bit, especially if you're trying to be successful and have that, you know, that star power. So I think maybe that's why it is so high up in terms of, you know, other classic songs such as Bohemian Rhapsody.
But Brooklyn, what are your thoughts?
It's crazy. Like, sorry,
Did you do the same thing?
It is crazy.
They did it again. Yeah.
It is crazy that
Third mess up.
Beyonce has done Lemonade, and like she had
Things are better in 3.
Lady Gaga, and has definitely acclimated herself to like kind of the trends of 2010s. But this is still like her number one song. This is still my favorite. I remember as a kid, when the music video for this came out, and it was kind of similar to like I had a similar feeling to like whenever Justin Timberlake left NSYNC to become solo. Was like, oh, okay, this will be good. His first single, ain't nothing like I love you. Like it was kind of like it was okay, but he would
fact check
really,
it. Like
really
I
hit
love
his
you.
stride until like
Ain't nothing like
sexy
her.
back. But this, it's
how am I
crazy
supposed to
that,
trust
like,
you now?
The first single that she ever did,
You're
holds
not.
this much weight,
That's the key.
and is still here. I think initially above Bohemian Rhapsody is a bit of a stretch. The more that I sit on it, it's like, okay, I think there's a little more to offer, like Corey said, in terms of building the tension. I think why that sample works in the horns is because it keeps ramping everything up, but it like whenever they have those like those two separate phases or whatever, it ends on the same note, so it feels like even though it doesn't actually like rise or fall, it has a kind of sameness to it.
My Andrew
but
impressed with the
the
musical
cool thing
nod.
is that the same time they're hitting that same note, they're hitting like almost like an octave or another harmony. So there's sometimes you hear that sample, you'll hear the same note, but the other times you'll hear like the higher one. So it's kind of cool to let your brain kind of play tricks on it. Another thing to mention as well, before twerking or like the word twerking was ever a thing.
I forgot you brought this up.
This was kind of the music. This was kind of the song to shake your butt to, because you remember in the video when she gets to that no, like that's when everybody was doing, and it was like it was great. I love I love the bridge in this. Like got me looking so crazy.
Are you saying shaking your butt?
I'm looking so crazy, my baby. I'm not myself. I'm foolish. I don't do this. I've been playing myself, baby. I don't care. And just like, I think she's held or not held. She's fallen, I guess, in terms of like some of the best vocalists ever. But one of the greatest performances for sure. I still think this is my favorite song of the 2000s, but I would have to kind of stew on it for a while.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, Corey, thank you so much for hopping on to talk about this song. Hopefully we'll see you again if we do anything else in the future.
100%. I just want to say congratulations, 500 songs. You know, that's a huge task that you guys took on, and it's good to see, you know, that you're finally at the end of the road of it. So congratulations on that.
Thanks, buddy. We'll see you soon.
All right, the thing that I forgot to mention on there, I think the song that kind of solidified Beyonce and Jay-Z as a power couple, and is also a great song, and it probably should have been on this list, 03 Bonnie and Clyde. I just think that has a lot of nice like swagger and whatnot.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I always forget about that song until someone else brings it up.
So did
Um,
I until Corey was mentioning how like it was kind of introducing them as a power couple. 'Cause I think that was like the next single that came out after this.
I think you might be right. Let's see if the next person knows it. Hey, Malcolm.
Oh, hey, Malcolm.
Oh. How you doing?
Good.
Glad to hear it, man. First of all, I want to bring something up to everyone watching. Malcolm, not only has seen is like watches the show, but he also sent me the list of songs from this list and the 2010s list and where they're all at. So, Malcolm, I cannot thank you enough. That's help for the show. But let's move on to number 15. I Want to Hold Your Hand by the Beatles. Malcolm, what are your thoughts on this song?
Yeah, this is this is definitely one of my favorite Beatles songs. Like, this is just one of those ones that's a bop, and I'll put it on like all the time, and it's just one that I think is joyful and a lot of fun, and it's just one that you can put on and people instantly recognize straight away as what it is, and I really do like the beat in this.
Yeah, the beat in this song by the Beatles is fantastic. Ringo is, I think I brought it up before, where I think Ringo is one of those drummers that is not like the most technically impressive. He's not like beating on like a 20-piece drum set to like Bach. But if you need a drummer that was just real solid, could keep a steady rhythm and keep it interesting, Ringo Starr was one of the best when it comes to that. It's a very joyous song. I agree. It's very sweet. It's delightful. It's one of those songs where like the simplicity is what really makes the song strong. It's a tight groove, a tight rhythm, great vocals, and the sweetness of it all really is very charming and is held up incredibly well. But for this to be above A Day in the Life and Yesterday to me, I mean, I get why it's here because this is the song that created Beatlemania. But you can still do that and be lower than your better songs, in my opinion. Brooklyn, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, top 15 is a bit of a stretch, especially above A Day in the Life. I'm fine that it's above Yesterday. I understand why it's here, and I think I've like sort of how you're talking about how simplistic it is. This is kind of the first bubblegum pop song. It's four chords mostly, and like you were mentioning, Andrew, on how sweet it is. I've talked about how Sgt. Pepper's is probably my favorite record, but the early era is my favorite of the Beatles, and just kind of the energy that they brought. This is not the song that I would put on here to define that era. I think it's the first hit that I would throw on. I Saw Her Standing There. I love the energy in that, the bluesy rock kind of vibe. But this is another example similar to how we were talking about A Day in the Life. Great harmonies by John and Paul. You get into that bridge, and when I touch you, I feel happy inside. This feeling, my love, I can't hide.
I can't hide.
I can't hide. I think this might have also popularized like the walk down or the walk up, because it's like, oh, when I got that something, and you got like the doom 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 doom. I think a lot of guitarists were like, hey, this is kind of cool to add into songs.
Yeah. Malcolm, any last thoughts on this song?
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are going to groan when I say this. This is one that I actually do like the Glee cover of this as well, because I think like Glee did do a lot of some good covers, and I think this was one of the legitimately good ones like that they did. especially on those Beatles episodes that when they did these.
Time to make Caleb Coho mad. Their cover of "Smooth Criminal" actually is like really good.
I agree with Malcolm. They have some awesome covers.
They
The
have
version of
some good
Songbird
ones.
is incredible.
Yeah. But Malcolm, thank you so much for everything. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sending in that list. You've been a real big help and a real big supporter, and I cannot thank you enough.
Hey, no problem. I always support everyone, so.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Have a good day. All right. Let's move on to number 14, but let's bring in a new person. Mr. Producer Man, who do we got backstage?
Hey.
Oh, Zach. And he's in
Zach!
like a new-ish room.
Wow. That's...
By the way, Malcolm supports everyone. I support no one. Fuck all you.
All right. The Kinks, Waterloo Sunset at number 14. Zach, what are your thoughts on this song, as if we didn't already know?
Yeah, thanks for fixing the randomness of this.
What are you talking about?
This is quite possibly, if I ever make an official list, which knowing me, I probably will make a playlist of my top 2,000 songs of all time and properly ranked at some point, that this is like a real competitor for my favorite song of all time. I was ready to talk shit about the Beatles coming in and having this right after the lame ass "I Want to Hold Your Hand," going to the better British invasion band, the Kinks. The Kinks did so they did. This is Something Else by the Kinks, was the album in '67, and then Rear the Village Green Preservation Society came out in '68, and put that with like Van Morrison's Astral Weeks, and with Pet Sounds, and there's my 4 favorite albums of the '60s. So the Kinks were just rolling at '67, '68. Waterloo Sunset, it jumped up like 40 spots from the last list. I made up that number, but it jumped way up from the last time they did this, and I think it's starting to get a little more notice as a perfect song that it is. It's just so lovely, and when it kicks in, it has a guitar that makes it think it's going to be so much more energetic than it is, but then the melody kicks in with the guitar, and it brings you down to earth and grounds you. It's one of the most beautiful melodies I think that's ever been written. And I'm going to talk about another song real fast, just to that tells a story about this. There's a band, Aquaville River, an indie rock band, and they have a song called "Famous Tracheotomies," and it's exactly about what it is. It's about famous people who had tracheotomies, and they give stories about it. And they taught the song at the end breaks into a instrumental cover of Waterloo Sunset, because the last story tells is about Ray Davies, the singer of the Kinks, why he was despite this, kind of known as one of his most personal songs that he wrote, is that when he was 13, he had a tracheotomy, and it was a rough recovery, and the nurses would take him out on the porch in the morning at our night, and he would watch the sunset over London. And years later, looking through his diaries or his memories or something, he was inspired to write about that sunset, which within the lyrics, it's really about no matter what the shit is going on, the commotion, and everybody's doing other things, but I'm fine watching the sunset and realizing my place on earth, and the beauty of earth, the beauty of existence, just not needing to be part of everything else, but fine being alone and comfortable. And I think it comes off, and I think the song is also I talked about how lovely the, it's also super playful, in a way that I think the Kinks did best of those '60s bands. That's kind of what Beatles were doing with Yellow Submarine, Magic Mystery Tour. These albums, the two I was talking about, I think mastered that British quirkiness into their music, and they never had the self-importance of some of the other British bands. I think they're always very comfortable with who they are. This is probably one of their most serious songs they wrote in 2 years before I did Sunset, and it's still light and breezy, but also warm and comforting. And it's a real deep breath of a song for me that whenever I'm struggling, it can help me go down to earth.
Brooklyn, what are your thoughts on this song?
So there's a couple of things that I agree with Zach on. It's a great British invasion song. I love Ray Davies as a vocalist. It's very quirky. I think it's one of the greatest licks ever, in terms of that recurring theme and just how much it fits. I love the kind of the walk down, how they get into like to Waterloo Sunset. It's something very peaceful and very calming in a sense. But then you kind of it ramps back up in like that pre-chorus section with the double time drums. And if you know me, I'm a sucker for double time. 14 might be a touch high, but I'm also like I'm
Probably
not
should be
as
number one, but it's
Oh.
okay.
I definitely need to check the Kinks out a little bit more, knowing how much I love the Beatles and the Monkees to an extent. But yeah, great song.
Yeah, I love this song. It's another one of those songs that the more I hear it, the more I really, really connect to it. It's got this beautiful dreamlike texture in the production. Zach, help me out. Who's the vocalist again?
Ray Davies.
Ray Davies, thank you. Ray Davies, his delivery of this it's just so nice and calm and positive. It just creates this beautiful sonic piece that anytime it comes on, it really hits me in a really sweet emotional spot. I think that this is, you know what? I'm going to say it. I think 14 is just right. I think 14 is just right.
I'm very happy. And this seems like the underdog song in this list to be up this high, and I'm very happy for it.
Oh, yeah.
This is definitely the black horse out of all of the ones that we've covered so far.
Dark horse, buddy. Dark horse.
Dark horse. You okay. I'm just gonna fine. Zach, any last thoughts before we move on?
Nah, Kings rule, Beatles rule. I don't hate the Beatles. I'm just
all right. Well, thank you, Zach, so much for coming on. We appreciate it. Have a great night,
Goodbye. Man. Thank you. Have a great life. See you never.
Okay. Wow. That was very interesting. Let's bring in our next guest. I am all over the place today.
Hey,
Payson Johnson. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. Thank you, Bard. Thank you, Brooklyn, for having me on the show. This has been a fun show so far. And I do have to say, the only Waterloo that I care about is Adelaide Spence and Cameron Redshaw.
Oh my God! What about Jack?
You don't care about the ABBA song, and sorry to kind of go on a tangent for a second. Payson, you look so young. Like your beard is shaven.
Yeah, funny story. I shaved for my senior project a week ago. So yeah, you got to deal with this for at least a month. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. We'll also see what number 13 is. "Give Me Shelter" by the Rolling Stones. I'm excited about this one. Payson, what are your thoughts on this song?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I am not as musically inclined as you two or as some people else on the panel. Yeah, yes. It is.
He doesn't like Canadians. He doesn't like music.
There's only one thing I hate more than music, and that is a certain group of people, specifically Canadians. I realized how awful it sounded. but no, I grew to love.
We here at the video store do not condone the hatred of a group of people. Send all your mail to one Payson Johnson.
No, it's always at Because I'm Bowman.
Yes.
Oh yes, becauseI'mBoatman.com.
BecauseI'mBoatman.com. No, I grew to love this song mainly due to its use in movies that I love, a la Goodfellas and The Departed, and that kind of just my love of the song sort of turned me on to the Rolling Stones. I had obviously heard other songs before this, like Painted Black, like Satisfaction, but this is still my favorite song of theirs. As you can see on the page, it's from 1969 off the album Let It Bleed. It is, I believe, the song that opens that album, and I think it is such a cool way to open this album. And the reason I love the song is just it fills you with this sense of dread. It came out in the late 60s. It deals with topics like war and murder. Essentially sort of taking what the mindset of everyone that was going through like the Vietnam War at that time, and just that opening chord progression of dun, 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 is something that has always stuck with me. I think someone that I think you need, obviously Mick Jagger's and Keith Richards, like, and everyone of the Rolling Stones can be thanked for this song. I think Mary Clayton, the one that does the war children, essentially the part of the song that I think most people will know, she is the one for that, and just that voice is just still haunting to this day. But no, I absolutely adore this song. I think Keith Richards' guitar solo in the middle of it, I think, is incredible. Yeah, I love this song. I'll stop talking.
Real quick before we move on to Brooklyn, there's one point where Mary Clayton's voice cracks, and if you listen closely enough, you can hear Mick Jagger softly in the back of the mix just go, "Woo!" because he's like so enthralled by her performance. It's such an amazing little moment in this song. But Brooklyn, I know that you and I have a different opinion on where this is ranked in the Rolling Stones' greatest songs. What are your thoughts?
So,
and you do have one
Gimme
person
Shelter,
judging us in the back.
Yeah. Gimme Shelter is fine as a song. I think the best part is absolutely Mary Clayton. If you want to go check out more of Mary Clayton, go watch the documentary 20 Feet from Stardom. It's about about backup singers and whatnot. And
yes,
she's kind of she's like, she is the magnum opus, I guess, or kind of like the best example or whatever. And it's kind of crazy because she's the best part of the Rolling Stones song, and this is where the Rolling Stones are probably going to end. Like, we've already had I Can't Get No Satisfaction and a million other songs. I agree. The guitar in this is great. I've played it before in kind of like a jammy session. But it has a great kind of like loop and build and whatnot. But yeah, I don't like. Obviously, it has a sentiment to Vietnam War and stuff. But just not my jam.
Interesting.
How dare you? I need to check one thing real quick. Just need to check the dates on something.
Okay, as you're checking that, 13 is too fucking high. Like,
how dare you?
Top 100, absolutely. Top 50, okay, you might have to twist arm a little bit, but like, yeah, anything above top 50, I'm like, this is some textbook pandering.
How dare you? This is the Rolling Stones' best song. This is one of the greatest songs ever made, in my opinion. That harmonica, though. Oh my god!
So much effect added on that harmonica, though. Do you even know that it's harmonica?
Yes, of course I knew it was harmonica right away. That blues sound that just adds so much tension and denseness and kind of this kind of haunting atmosphere to the song that's already sounds like a storm a brewing. It's so perfect. I think that this is some of Mick Jagger's best vocal work. I think, first of all, I want to say I think Let It Bleed is the Rolling Stones' best album, in my opinion. And this is the best song to encapsulate like what this album kind of is, just because of the production on this. It's incredible. And yes, Mary Clayton just howling at the top of her lungs. It's such an apocalyptic song. And it's also just, it's so weird. And by weird I don't mean like, oh, that's odd, but like just the fact that this song came out the exact same year as the Altamont incident, it adds another extra layer to this song, in my opinion. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. It's really tragic, but it changed music. It changed rock and roll. But yeah, Brooklyn, you're crazy. Payson, I'm on your side. I think this is one of the greatest songs ever made. Thank you. Any last thoughts before we send you on your way?
No, yeah, I just think, like you said, I think apocalyptic is one of the best ways to describe this song. Like, there's a reason why this song is used in so many things to show, like, oh shit is going down right now. Are we allowed to swear on this? I just realized that.
Yeah, you're allowed. We've already broken that.
Sweet. Okay, but yeah, just
we've already been demonetized.
Oh, good. But it just feels like, oh shit's about to go down when you hear this song, and yeah, I love every single second of it.
All right. Well, Payson, thank you so much for coming on. We love having you here. Of course.
Thank you, Payson, for coming on.
And we'll hopefully see you soon. All right. With that, we are going to move on to
the Dirty Dozen.
Our next. Yeah, the Dirty Dozen. It's a Jeff for you.
Hey!
Look who's back. Back again.
I'm here. Jeff is back. Tell your friends.
Jeff, you get to talk about Superstition by Stevie Wonder.
And of course, we get. It wouldn't be an appearance with me unless we had a cameo.
Absolutely.
Yes. As they hit the mute button on my freaking microphone as well. Yeah, it's okay. We're talking about some good stuff right now. It's May, don't worry. Superstition, Stevie Wonder, man. This is a song right here, y'all. I was like, this is a great friggin' song. Not many times do you instantly recognize something from a drum beat. As soon as you hear that, boom, 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 you can instantly go, I can name that song in about 3 notes instantly right there. And if that doesn't hook you in right there, you get, I see you getting warmed up, Brooklyn. You get that dirty freaking little lick right there. Hit me with it. Go ahead.
Son of a bitch, Brooklyn. He said
I had to move down half a step. It was what I was going to get into.
I threw the beach ball up in the air, and I was waiting for you to hit it, and you didn't do it. So, you know, you hear that lick.
All right.
And you're freaking muted. There.
No. Go back to me.
Well, once we get that lick down, the rest of the song, it just continuously flows to this incredible rhythm. Everything just bounces off each other so well. You have this driving bass lick. You have a good rhythm overall from the guitar. And we're going to go back to that bass lick because I think Brooklyn now has it. So that bass lick, that monster lick goes just like... There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just such a funky beat. If you can listen to the song and not like bop your head, tap your foot, anything, if you can sit still, you're all that is man. It is physically impossible to sit still during this song. You know, everything just balances off, you know, the rhythm, the drums, the lick from the bass, the vocals from Stevie. They're just hey, third time's a charm. Third time's a charm. We got there. But I think one of the biggest shining moments of this song is the horn section. The horns complement this song so well. It doesn't take away. It doesn't degrade the song anymore. It's just the perfect little. It's like that little bit of seasoned salt on top right there. It's so good. And I played the song in high school jazz band, played trumpet on this one. It was a lot of fun to play. You can't help but listen to the song and just move around and groove to it. It's just so good.
Yeah, absolutely. You brought it up. It's the groove. The groove of this song is just iconic. It's something that I feel like is buried down in most of our bones. Because the moment you hear like everyone is automatically like, oh, this is my jam. Stevie sounds fantastic on this song. Like the amount of power that he's throwing into some of this, but he's also like conserving it at just
he's restrained and controlled. It's perfect. It's the perfect vocal range for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't say too much about this song because it's that like everyone knows. We all know how great it is. Brooklyn, what about you?
Yeah, you guys have already touched some parts on it, like that initial drum beat, the lick, him even coming in just like that. The opening lyrics that grab you, very superstitious writing on the wall. I love one of the trends that Stevie Wonder has in his bands, like those unison kind of moments when it's like literally the horns, the sax, and the bass all playing the exact same thing, and it's just so full sounding, and that's what makes this song great. And I love the build up that they has like in that pre-chorus. It's like when you believe in things you don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then like obviously he kind of has like a fade off in the first section, like superstitious, like kind of goes lower, but then when it goes into it again, he lets out this like big wailing howl, and I was like, holy crap, like it has like that raw kind of emotion. But yeah, a great freaking song. Number 12, absolutely so, probably top 10 even.
I'd say it's a top 10, but inside the top 20 here, I ain't mad. Not even.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain. But Jeff, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate talking music with you all.
Congratulations on doing 500 songs. You're almost at the end, though, guys. Keep it up.
Oh, God, we're almost there.
Thanks, man.
Stay focused. You got it.
Have a good night. All right. Oh, look, we got someone backstage. Who dat? Oh, there he is.
These go to 11.
Oh my gosh, that's a great segue, Boatman. This is why we ask you to be on the show. Number 11, the Beach Boys with God Only Knows. Boatman, what are your thoughts on this song?
You got me for the Beach Boys. I feel like I've kind of made myself known as one of the biggest Beach Boys fans in this community. This is from Pet Sounds, which is like a top 3 album for me personally. I know, like, oh yeah, duh, because Pet Sounds is great. And here's the thing about Pet Sounds, right? Pet Sounds is almost not a Beach Boys album as much as it is the Brian Wilson Symphony featuring the Beach Boys. Like that's kind of what the Beach Boys or what Pet Sounds is. And you definitely get that on God Only Knows, right? You do still have like the Beach Boys, signature overlapping, but there's so much going on musically in the background here. I feel like I'm not as qualified to talk about it, even though I love this song, because there's so much going on from a music and instrumentation standpoint that just Brian Wilson truly was a musical genius. I can only really talk about like the feeling that the song gives. It's like floating on a cloud. I think that's what the song is. It's just this very like kind of pristine, like waves are floating. There's just something so surreal to it, but not in a way that feels like psychedelic surreal, just like a dream. That's what this song feels like, and it's so brilliantly done, and just one of the ultimate love songs of all time.
I believe Paul McCartney openly admitted that he was super jealous that he did not write this song. John Lennon was crazy jealous of the harmonies that the Beach Boys could do, especially on this song. The thing I love the most about this song, and it's gonna be so weird, but I think some people might agree with me, is the clopping, like the horse clopping that kind of like goes through this, and like it sets the tempo, and it just creates this great little extra. That extra oomph that to zhuzh it up a little bit. And Brian Wilson just sounds so perfect on this song. That opening line is just gorgeous. I may not always love you, but long as there are stars above you. It's just beautiful, dreamy, poetic, like greatness. It really is. Brooklyn.
Yeah, I think this is okay for the section. I think if it was up to me, I would probably put Good Vibrations over that because I think it's just a little more. I probably would like the more. I would swap them. The first time that I really ever heard this song was whenever it was used as the opening theme for Big Love, the show about Bill Paxton being a polygamist. And I think that gives it like a weird kind of contextual vibe, because when you get into that God only knows, it kind of comes off as like somebody trying to find love, and that doesn't work, we'll go to the next person God only knows what I'd be without you. God only knows what I would be without you. I agree that the harmonies in this work. This is probably the highest we're ever going to see French horns as an instrument. How they kind of intro the song has that very like round kind of sound. But yeah, just for the song to be just outside the top 10, it's okay.
Yeah. Bo, any last thoughts before you go?
Rolling Stones Top 500, number 10.
Thanks, Boatman. We'll see you soon. All right.
Okay.
So,
Thank you,
as
Casey Kasem.
number 10, Hey Ya by Outkast. This is another one where we're actually going to bring in a video guest. And let me grab them real quick. Brooklyn, branch her a little bit for me.
Isn't it fitting that we are on the video store and it's like we have a bunch of videos to provide to you? So we are like actually kind of fitting the channel's motto of the name of being the video store.
You know, I got to come on here and talk about these two guys. Well, variants of the album cover. Anyway, Hey Ya. Hey Ya is a dope ass song, probably one of the most catchiest songs in the history of forever. Really shows the genius of Andre 3000, his lyrical ability, the music that they put together for songs like those. It's just absolutely crazy. I don't think I remember a more popular song ever in its time for how long it is. Black, white, Hispanic, whoever you were, people were shaking it like a Polaroid picture. It was ridiculous how shows how much two dudes from Atlanta and Decatur can do just something completely different if you never were an Outkast fan. Look, Hey Ya, number 10 all time. Hey Ya ain't even a top 10 Outkast song. It's not even a top 15 Outkast song. Let's look. Spotty Audiopoulos, Players Ball, Southern Playlist of Cadillac Music, Ghetto Music, The Way You Move, Roses, Rose Parks, Elevators, AT-Aliens, Humble Mumble, Bombs Over Baghdad. Look, here's the deal. The song is great. It's amazing. But it ain't even... It's not the Outkast song you put in the top 10 songs of all time. Look, here's what you do. You take International Players Anthem and you put it where Bombs Over Baghdad is. You take Hey Ya, put it where International Players Anthem is, and you put Bombs Over Baghdad as number 10. That's the song you choose if you want Outkast as a top 10 song of all time. Love it. Andre was dope. Don't even got Big Boy on the song. Look, man, it's great. But it ain't top 10 of all time great. Ain't top 10 Outkast song. Brilliant, but not. Do better, Rolling Stones. Do better.
You're muted.
Some harsh words, but tough love from Rue. Brooklyn, what are your thoughts on Hey Ya?
Rue may be out of line, but he's right. This is a great song, but it's a great Andre 3000 song, similar to how Yesterday is a great Paul song. All the songs that Rue mentioned, I'd probably put Rosa Parks in this one. I love the kind of duality, and I think Andre has really good verses in that. There's really good flow in that. This is one of the better versions of like 2000 songs that are uplifting but have like a kind of like a dark message about like this is kind of about his parents either like are not really splitting up but staying together through tough times, but then it has one of the most iconic moments of shaking like a Polaroid picture to the point where Polaroid had to put in a memo being like, guys, please stop shaking your photos. Just let them not dissolve, but like come to be as its own. It'll take like a little longer, but yeah, one of the best music videos I think you could say, in terms of like, I guess the work that Andre's putting in like all of those different characters. But yeah, this one gets covered a lot, and I like the kind of somber approach that they can go for. Yeah, 10 is a bit, I don't know, 10's a bit too high. Similar to how we were talking about last time. I think I still put Crazy over this as my favorite song at the 2000s. But this is probably fitting that this is number 10. This is probably in the top 10 of 2000 songs.
Yeah, when we last had Kelly on before this episode, we talked about Yeah, and I said that there were two songs from 2004 slash 2003 that just exploded and was just like everywhere. This was the second one. I remember hearing the song at baseball games, at the pool, like wherever I went, and there's a reason for that because it's a super infectious song. This is a song that Andre is purposefully trying to connect to everyone with through the music, even if it's a very serious subject matter. He sounds great. The bouncy, I cannot say bouncy synth. It just adds so much texture. It's so much fun. It's infectious, even if it is kind of a sad song. But with that being said, we're going to move on to number 9, which is Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. Brooklyn, you will get your chance, but I got something for us. I got an actual recording artist.
Did you get Weird Al?
Better. I may have set expectations a little too high. But no, I know someone who is in the recording industry, and I know that they are also a big fan of Fleetwood Mac. I asked them to send a video in. They went above and beyond. They sent a breakdown of what makes this song so great. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Ray Raddick. Let me get this thing started. Oh no, the audio!
Oh no!
I do this
My time to shine!
I do this every single time. Okay, here we go. And then we share the screen.
Click on options and we
You click on options.
And this is my 2 cents on the incredible Dreams. Released in 1977. It was one of their first hits. Written by Stevie Nicks. And of course, fluffed up and incredible. Fleetwood Mac just kind of brought their own vibes to it. So let's dive right into the song. I'm a big lyricist person, so I want to start. So the first line of the song is, now here you go again. You say you want your freedom. Bam, right then and there, as a listener, you understand exactly what's going on. You understand, okay, this is a breakup song, and okay, there's a disconnect between the characters, and you're thrown into it. So right then and there, Stevie Nicks is just showing you her heart, and she's letting you know, the vibe of the story right here. And then, as you know, Stevie Nicks is a very poetic person. That's one of my favorite things about her is you can tell that she reads poetry and she uses poetic devices in her writing. Her imagery in this song is very, very strong. Obviously, thunder only happens when it's raining. Players only love you when they're playing. You say women, they will come, they will go. When the rain washes away, you'll know. So it's a very ethereal song that's going on here, but also it's very relatable. It's relatable and almost universal in a way. How many times has anyone heard, oh, I'd like to see other people? So she's very smart in her writing and in her imagery that she uses and in the way that she wants to connect with a listener who is a stranger who's now going to have a connection with her. So that's my girl, Stevie Nicks. And what's smart about her as well is she's not a complicated singer. She's not when she's not Whitney Houstoning it. So when you listen to this song, you can sing along with her and it's right in your range. It's a very comfortable spot in the voice. Almost anyone can sing this song. Very smart. So let's dive in. Let's start with the heartbeat of the song. Mick Fleetwood here. It has almost like a heartbeat undertone. And it's a very laid back groove. So it kind of keeps it here the whole time. You feel the heartbeat. And then he's got the hi-hat. So you have that hi-hat that's kind of sitting on the top. You've got the, the kick drum here that almost has a heartbeat-like tempo to it. And then he has the hi-hat at the top. And then he's got the hi-hat. So you have that hi-hat that's kind of sitting on the top. You've got the, the kick drum here that almost has a heartbeat-like tempo to it. And then he has the hi-hat at the top kind of resonating and floating above. And then let's dive into the bass. The bass is consistent throughout. He just kind of sits there again. So him and the bass and the drums are almost working in tandem with each other. To me, it almost reminds me of a heartbeat. You've got the bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. And he just kind of sits there. So right now we're in the build of the song. You have echoes coming in. The bass and the drums are still the same. They're consistent. Okay, so we've got some echoes coming in. We understand the song is starting to build. And now we're starting to hear flavors of Lindsay. Now this is where my man Lindsey Buckingham comes in. And he's very, very complimentary in this. The guitar basically just goes, bear now, now, bear now, now. So he's just individually picking. So he's just giving you some chocolate chips on the Sunday, but nothing crazy. So now we're into the chorus. I would like to add for this song, one of the reasons why I think this song is so strong is that they were able to hold your attention for 3 minutes and 55 seconds with 2 chords. Now, usually a song is at least 4 chords, and then when there's a bridge, which is basically when the song changes like halfway through, that's an extra 2 to 4 chords. So the fact that they were able to keep this song as simple as possible and interesting and building just serves how strong of a band and how strong of songwriters they are. So I just want to make a note of that. Fleetwood Mac was very, very strong with harmonies. So as we dive into the chorus, you'll hear, Stevie's got the melody. She's staying strong. Thunder only happens when it's raining. You've got Lindsay on the bottom. Thunder only happens when it's raining. And what's nice about the way that they mixed this song is that you can hear him very strongly and almost, at least for me, I think subconsciously, I already picture that they are the 2 characters in this story. Stevie is obviously the main character. She's the one who's singing about this breakup. But then his voice is kind of ghosted in the chorus. And so my mind automatically kind of links them together. It also doesn't help that I know the background and I know that they dated for a very long time. So there's that as well. But let's listen to the chorus. And I want you to listen to the stacking of the harmonies. And then you have Christine on the top, who's also floating. Again, the harmonies on this create such a beautiful blend around this 2-chord structure. Christine McVie, thunder only happens when it's raining. She's kind of floating on top. So for this little interlude that we have going on between the chorus and the second verse, this is Lindsay. One of the things that I love about Lindsay is that you can tell that he's a very smart guitarist in the way that he chooses. And what I mean by that is he doesn't try and show off in this song. You know how sometimes guitarists like, oh, this is my chance to shine and show off how fast I can play or whatever. Lindsey can play very, very fast. He is, in my opinion, he's one of the greatest guitarists that is very underrated and over. But what I'm trying to point out in this song is that in the notes that he chooses, they're very complimentary. It kind of lends itself to that feel, that laid back heartbeat, almost ghost-like feeling that's happening, this ghost-like tone that we're just coming out of. This chorus has almost like a choral ghosting effect. As we're moving into the song and the story, Lindsey kind of chooses a pedal that's not natural for the guitar. So it's not like he just kind of plugged his guitar in and just played. This was on a very specific pedal. And it's a very 70s sound. When I play this back for you, you can tell it's very 70s in its tone like quality. And you can tell there's some reverb, there's some echo going on as well. And it's just kind of moving the song along in like a wavy feeling. And it's taking the listener, it's keeping the listener engaged. But like I said, this isn't him showing off. This is him just kind of lending himself to this river that's already been started. So cool fun fact. So Stevie Nicks changes her pronouns in the second verse. Now here I go again. All of that stuff. I see the crystal vision. So she's changing up her pronouns. She's changing up the story. She's keeping the listener engaged. All of that good stuff. Okay. So that's my 2 cents on this incredible song. I'm going to finish this with, I think a song should stand alone, and I think this does because it has already stood the test of time. It was hit in 1977 when they first came on the scene, and it's a hit. It was a hit in 2020 or 2021 when Gen Z discovered this song, and there was a new band called Fleetwood Mac that some of the Gen Zers said that I just laughed in their face at. So the fact that this song is 2 chords, the fact that it is based on harmonies, which is incredible in the way that they structure the song. And like I said, it has already stood the test of time. This is why I think Fleetwood Mac is one of the greatest bands in music. And this is one of the strongest songs. So thank you so much for listening to me. I am Ray Raddick, and I will see you next time.
You're muted again.
Brooklyn, I'm gonna go real quick, and then I know you're the big Fleetwood Mac guy. This song is just a very beautiful, luscious song that, as Ray said, got a lot of lyrical details, but in its simplicity, combined with that, it makes for a fantastic song.
Yeah, no, this is great. She hit a couple of points that I wanted to bring up. That this is 2 chords, and that's all it really needs to be. My favorite section of this is the pre-chorus, like a heartbeat drives you mad. And I like how they use certain words in the lines to kind of drive that specific line forward. They sit on like heart, beat, and then the stillness, and then and when they get to the and what you lost, they just repeat like lonely, and then it's great, and you have this big boom and hits the crash. Thunder only happens when it's raining. First time I ever heard this, funny we were talking about Glee, is when I was on the Glee Fleetwood Mac episode. It was Chris and Chenoweth they brought on for this, and they do a really great rendition of it. But I'm always, like I said it before, I'm a sucker for bands that can pull off those low harmonies, and that chorus is a textbook example. Number 9 is okay. Depending on what day you ask me, I think I probably put The Chain as my favorite song on the album. Dreams is good, but I think there's a lot of choices you could put on here. You could go with Never Going Back. You could go with Never Go Back Again. You could go with The Ender, Gold Dust Woman, which I think is a fucking bop and a half. But yeah, great song by a great record on a great record by a great band. You're still muted. At this point, I think it's the producer man. Producer man's trying to fuck you over.
I think you're right. So that we are going to. Oh my God, not again. There we go. All right. So with that, we're going to move on to the next song on the list, which I'll just say it as I'm figuring this out. It's "Get Your Freak On" by Missy Elliott. We were going to have Jay Burns.
Number 8, a hip hop song, Missy Elliott, "Get Your Freak On." Trust me, I love the fact that hip hop's getting a representation in the top 10. My only issue is the fact that this is the song that gets the number 8 spot. The worst song by the Wu-Tang Clan deserves this spot over Missy Elliott's "Get Your Freak On." Don't get me wrong, I love Missy. I am all here for female MC representation. This just ain't the song. The song is so disconnected. The song is so just out there to me personally as an individual who works in the music industry, at least on the fringes of it. This just ain't it for me. The remix is better than this. The "Get Your Freak On" remix that's in fucking "Welcome to the Jungle" or "The Rundown" is better than this one. But shout out to Brooklyn Bale and Andrew James Barr for allowing me on this. I hope that if you guys do this again and you cover it and we're all still here and the internet still exists, that you let me back, even with this quote-unquote what might be a controversial opinion. I appreciate you guys. This was mad fun when I did my episode with you. And even though I couldn't be there to record everything with you for the final episode, this was a blast. Thank you guys. I appreciate everything it is that you have done for me. Yeah, I've been Jay the Arsonist Burns. Peace out, guys. Love you.
And just how much charisma she has. Probably the song that everybody thinks of when they think of Missy Elliott. Yeah, I'll say it again. Number 8 is shockingly high. It's probably going to dip next time around, but I would say if it's going to dip to anywhere, if it's going to dip to its lowest, I would say it's just outside of the top 100, maybe like 90-ish. I'm really sorry, Andrew, but you're muted again.
Mr. Producer Man! So I'm also kind of surprised that it's this high, but I'm also not. I feel like this is probably the song, and I think I said this the last time Missy Elliott came up. I think that this is the song that probably set the catalyst for where we're at now when it comes to music, with like the Doja Cats and the Megan Thee Stallions and the Cardi B's. I think this is where it really began. Timbaland's beat's great. Missy's got a great flow, but number 8 just seems real high. And Brooklyn's gone. Okay. I'm gonna move on to number 7.
I was just getting a beverage.
Oh,
it was a PEI favorite Pepsi because Pepsi
is it a strawberry one? Okay, that was very bad. Oh look!
Hey, hello.
Hey, David Jimenez. How you doing?
Wow, you said Jimenez very well. I'm good, man. Thanks for inviting me. Been a long time.
Yeah, it has been a long time. I think the last time that I talked with you was on the playlist episode of the Beatles.
That is right.
But we have another Beatles song. I'm going to assume this is the highest one. "Strawberry Fields Forever" by the Beatles. David, what are your thoughts on this song?
Well, first of all, thanks for inviting me, guys. Second, if you heard that playlist episode, and you remember every single word that I said, you maybe remember that number 1, my favorite Beatles song was this one in particular, "Strawberry Fields Forever." And been a year and a half or so about that, and my opinion is still pretty much the same. I think that this song is fantastic all the way through, innovative. It is really great, and I need to go a little bit quicker in here, but if you really want to know like in full what I really think about that song, maybe check that out, that episode, because my opinion really hasn't changed. But very quickly, lyrically speaking, is a very interesting song because it really isn't too clear, too obvious, but it is about John Lennon's childhood and like he visited this orphanage called Strawberry Fields when he felt alone or sad or wanted to play with someone, and it was kind of like his place to escape the world, So the imaginary of the song, of the lyrics of what is portraying, I think it really makes it sound like that, like a place in your imagination, in your mind, where you just kind of like get loose and not think about anything. And it sounds very invitational as well with the "Let me take you down because I'm going to Strawberry Fields." It was like a very strong opening lyric, and to just say, okay, he's welcoming us to his world, to his mind. And the lyrics are great, but why I really love this song is because of the sound. The production on this is great, psychedelic and baroque at the same time. The string arrangements on here are just marvelous. George Martin doing a great job as always. And I really like one detail in the production, which is that the cutting of certain takes. Because there's some really good fact about cutting the song. You should check it out. And slowing up, speeding up, and pitching, change pitching the tones of the song, which is really experimental. It was really experimental to that day, and still bands like I don't know, the Mars Volta comes to mind quickly, did that in so many albums that it's like uncountable, but again, the sound, the mellotron at the beginning, the drumming of Ringo here is just fantastic. And yeah, it is just really one beautiful song, still my favorite. And I really like the fact that in this list particularly, it's kind of like, well, spoiler for the next of the list, but it is kind of higher than songs like A Day in the Life or Hey Jude, that were kind of like the better songs of the Beatles, or the ones that appear in the lists of better songs for a while. And I do prefer this one, and I do think this one is better. And I think it's a good place to be in number 7. Maybe a lot of people will say, well, A Day in the Life is better, or I don't know if you like the experimental Beatles, Tomorrow Never Knows or something like that. But what it is, I think this is probably their best single, and really, really great choice for Rolling Stone to put this in the top 10. And yeah, that is pretty much all I got, guys.
I think that this is a good choice. It wouldn't be my choice for the highest Beatles song, but it's a really good choice. And I think you brought up a good point with its warmth and inviting kind of sensibility to it. And I'm so glad you brought up George Martin, because that dude is just one of the greatest producers of all time. He is the fifth Beatle. And the ending, when everything just kind of like starts overlapping, it's just done in such a masterful way. It's incredible. Brooklyn.
One of the best parts of that song.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you guys are saying. This is one of the best in terms of like instrumentation and arrangement. I like David was talking about like Ringo's drums, and like when especially you get to that "Let Me Take You Down," and it's dum, 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 and you have that like they have the crash in the chorus. Which I think is just fitting enough for like the psychedelic kind of approach that they're going for. Everybody really has a chance to shine. George has some really nice guitar work in this. George Martin, like you guys are talking about the horns and whatnot. I don't attach to the lyrics as much. I think honestly, like what I would like to see on this list to kind of symbolize everything, and similar to like A Day in the Life, but it's actually something that David got me into, the long one. And if you haven't listened to the long one, it's basically the second half of Abbey Road, and it's like 14 to 16 minutes of pure greatness. But my question for David, and maybe Andrew can answer this as well, is at the end of this song, they have a couple of instruments that have like a Doppler effect. They have like this woodwindy kind of instrument, and then the guitar. is that to signify the end of the Magical Mystery Tour? Because I don't know where this falls on the record itself, but is that sort of signify like the ending, like kind of like parade or whatever?
That's a very good question. Like,
I can't answer that.
No.
In the the album originally was released as an EP, and it ended with the Walrus, I Am the Walrus song, which if we kind of like try to find sense to that musical, to that EP, that movie, I think we will not find one. It was like a very weird experimental movie that they did alone, just to get out of contract with I don't know, United Artists, I think.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So yeah, continue, Andrew.
But no, I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on, David. Any last quick thoughts before we go?
Just to say that Strawberry Fields was kind of like released aside from all of that, and then in the US version they put it all together. But it is a good theory, like the end of the parade kind of thing. And yeah, nothing more than this song rocks, and I wish we can repeat this again. Congratulations on hitting 500 songs. That's just massive, guys.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
you're near the end, so congratulations, and hopefully we see each other again.
Thank you for coming on, David.
See you.
We'll see you soon. All right. So with that, we're going to move on to number
5.
Number 6.
Wait, number 6. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know that math. I didn't know that math was different in Canada.
I see how it is. Melissa, get him.
Hi,
Hello.
Melissa. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. How are you guys?
I think we're both a little tired so far, but we're doing good otherwise. But number 6 on the list is Marvin Gaye's "What's Going On." Melissa, do you have any thoughts on this song at all?
I mean, so many. Honestly, this song and album, I think we could easily talk for like an hour.
Oh yeah,
because there's so much to talk about with this. But I'll keep it short and sweet, of course. I mean, I think Marvin Gaye's voice is incredible. He is just so soulful, and there's kind of like a delicateness to his voice. But the lyrics in the song are really powerful and incredibly relevant today, unfortunately. I think all forms of art are political in some manner, but this one is definitely a political statement in a good way, I guess, in regards to promoting change. And it's just a little sad that we haven't seen much change in the past 51 years when this song was first released, but yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. But it's aged incredibly well.
Yeah.
Because of that reason. Unfortunate as it is, but this is also just one of the most beautiful sounding songs ever. Like, it's so luscious. The strings are just fantastic, and Marvin is doing such a great job delivering these lyrics. He sounds tired and weary, but he's pushing himself through it. And I think that delivery of the lyrics combined with just some of the most beautiful instrumentation I've ever heard just elevates this to one of my personal favorite songs of all time. Brooklyn.
So yeah, the first time that I heard this song, it was like one of the charity versions, or one of the like where everybody kind of comes together. Which is not great. But this is fucking unreal. It is objectively Marvin Gaye's best song. I think if we're talking about like my own personal favorite, I probably lean towards Heard It Through the Grapevine. But I love the bass line in this. I love that pre-chorus of like picket lines and picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality, and it has that echo in the back, like brother, brother. But then it switches to sister, sister. And then it's just when he gets into the actual title of the song, oh, what's going on? It just like pun intended, or not pun intended, but like it packs so much soul, and it makes sense because he's like he is really the king of soul. There is no one singular artist that is better in this era. Number 6 is very well earned. It's probably going to stay here. I can't see it going any higher, but there is
It was
really
4 last time. So.
Okay, so it dipped to just outside of the top 5. Yeah. Other than that, it's a great bop.
And the album, the whole album is incredible. And when I was kind of preparing for the show, it was the number 1 album for Rolling Stone's like 500 top albums for 2021. So that's kind of cool.
Honestly, I'm really happy to hear that. But Melissa, thank you so much for hopping on. We loved having you on, and hopefully we'll see you again in the future if we continue to do more episodes. So
yeah, thanks for having me. You guys are doing awesome.
Thanks,
See you later.
Thank you. Have a good night. All right, with that, we're going to move on to number 5, and oh god, it's Jim.
It's Jim.
My arch nemesis is.
Well. How the turntable. Music reference. What do you? Oh, no wonder you're here, Jim. It's Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana.
Yeah, of course.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. It is good. Goodbye. No, but you know.
All right, thanks for coming on, Jim.
This song is like. It just completely changed like rock music and music in general, like forever. Because I was just looking up, like, oh, what like hair metal like kind of albums came out in 1991, and if you look, not Appetite for Destruction, that's not it. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 came out like 3 days after Nevermind, and it's like, oh yeah, like we kind of don't need Guns N' Roses anymore because like Nevermind just completely changed the landscape of like rock music. Because like if you do look, it's like,
we didn't ever need Guns N' Roses. I'm sorry.
You shut your whore mouth.
But, I mean, you have like Paradise City. Like, they have like their hits and stuff, like along with like Motley Crue and stuff. It's not the greatest band of all time, but they still have their hits. But if you look, they still had like, you know, Live and Let Die and like Civil War and like stuff like that, like on that album. But when Nevermind came out and this is the first song on it, it just completely changed like music completely, because it's like, no, that's not cool anymore. And like grunge, like it was already on its way up. This just made it like skyrocket. And and of course it introduced us to Rock and Roll Jesus, Dave Grohl, which really is the most important thing. And, you know, even for me, like this album is like so good that, you know, in the early 2000s, when we were in the time of like Napster and LimeWire, when we were giving our computers AIDS like every week, I earned this album. Like I downloaded it off of, I think, Rapid Share, and it took like 3 hours. And it was like 50 megabytes. And it was like, I'm pretty sure I still have that same original file, like from Rapid Share on my phone right now, like from like 15 years ago. That's how great this album is. And this song, which, you know, the song is like, the song is what's on the list. And I know Melissa just brought up like the whole albums thing. I don't know where this album is, but I assume it's very high up for Rolling Stones.
Oh,
but this album, it's like it kicks it off, and it's just like the perfect song for almost like a perfect album.
Brooklyn.
Yeah. So, I am one of the disciples of Dave Grohl. I guess you could say. It's weird. I never think of this as a Dave Grohl song. This has always been like
this is a great
song. But how people talk about Jimi Hendrix and how technically proficient of a guitarist he is, Kurt Cobain is just as great, but for almost the exact opposite reasons. He is purposefully messy, but it makes sense for grunge, and like, because all those little nuances make the song. Because if you try to play this clean, it doesn't sound the same. Kristen Novoselic has a great bass line in this, and like how it kind of echoes in between like the chorus and the verse and whatnot. A name that needs to be brought up as well. Butch Vig as the producer, very instrumental in bringing their sound, and as well, he would join Dave Grohl later to help them produce Wasting Light, which is their best record. But this is also going to be the last time that I probably get to bring this up. Weird Al does a great parody of this. Smells Like Nirvana, one of the better ones.
Yeah, and
also a
Kurt
great music
apparently
video.
loved it.
Loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He thought it was like
Oh,
the
absolutely.
best thing ever.
He thought that's the moment he said, "We've made it," when he covered that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this song is incredible. Like it's that dynamic that this song has with the kind of softer, gentler, even though it still has a lot of edge to it, the verses just exploding into that chorus, and just doing that throughout the song creates this great this great piece. Kurt sounds fantastic on it. The instrumentation is fantastic, and there's a reason that this song exploded what we knew of pop culture at the time when it came out. Because if you look at the music of 1990, it's not great.
Hey, what do you like about the 80s? Okay, we're going to keep those until they're not as popular.
Yeah. But with that being said, Jim, any last thoughts on this song before we move on?
No, it's just shout out to all the computer aids that we all got from LimeWire and Napster. Nirvana, you were part of that for me.
All right, let's bring on the best teammate that Jim's ever been for. One Kurt Kolakowski.
Carl. Kurt. Oh, his name's Kurt. Yeah. Kurt.
No one told me I was going to have to follow Jim. I agree to that.
Liza Balderdash. Don't put that voodoo on us, Kirk. Thank you so much for coming, Jim. We'll see you later.
Bye, Jim.
All right, with that, let's move on to number 4. Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. Kirk, what are your thoughts on the song that gave us this show, this title?
Oh no, I was really excited when you guys, I saw you sent me this song. I was really excited about it. You guys gave me a good, you picked a good one for me, or you picked me for a good one, however you want to say it. But no, I love this song, especially this time of year on the surface. It's a, the weather's getting nice. It's a great roll down the windows sing along song. Just because of kind of how unpolished it feels, like you can just unabashedly belt this one out along with Bob, and it sounds fine. You're having a good time, whatever. It's just it's a great song on that, but just like on a deeper level. I was reading up on it and just how he wrote this. He was going through a lot of stuff, and he said, he's quoted as saying he just vomited out like 20 pages of just basically verse. And the putting together of that, so much of it, the eventual lyrics, the music, so much of it was like seemed like it was accidental. And it was just a really nice, like, coming together. I was listening to some earlier, like takes on it in different ways they tried it, and none of it sounds good. But this song, I just love how chaotic it is. It almost sounds like every musician is doing their own thing. And somehow it just works. Like everybody's like going through it. It's very aggressive. It's like, when I love with the few parts where he comes on for like with the harmonica and just kind of like does like a couple bars and then just stops like, oh, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to bother. It's like there's so much just anger and feeling to that, and those drums going into the final verse. Just how hard that hit. I love that about this song, and just a lot of layers to it. You could look at it. I was reading up again. It was there's ideas of who it might be about. You could look at it, it's a diss track for like Andy Warhol or Joan Baez, a lot of different people. Or it's just, it could be about it, it's a lot of anger towards himself. But I love about it seems like it's a really aggressive, angry song towards the person. But at the end, it's, kind of like, you're invisible now, you have no secrets to conceal.
I just love that idea of like, you know, you're nobody now, and it's almost like he's jealous of that. Like, you know, I think that's you know, Dylan was dealing with his rising fame and everything, and just that idea of being a nobody, having nothing to lose, nothing to stress about. Like, there's almost like he's bashing you for that through the whole song, and it's like, you know what, it's not that bad a deal.
I think that this song is about a specific person, and that person is society. This is one of the ones where this is arguably in my top 3 Dylan songs. It's like between this, The Times They Are Changing, and Tangled Up in Blue. This is one of the ones where, like, sonically, like, the music and the instrumentation, it's jaunty. But I think that pairs well with these really angry lyrics, where basically he's like, it's a you'll get what's coming to you kind of song, and I think that it pairs so well with the jaunty instrumentation that I brought up earlier. It's hard for me to say anything about this one because of how kind of perfect it is. Brooklyn, hopefully you can do better than I did.
Perfect is a word. Overplayed.
Don't you?
Absolutely. This is played to fucking death. I feel like I hear this.
Have you listened to some other songs on this?
I feel like this
we just
is
talked
played
about Smells
like
Like Teen Spirit. You want to talk about Overplayed?
If you ever listen to CBC Radio 2, this is played like almost every day. And just like how great it is. I understand why it's here. I feel like this is like we were talking about like Son of a Preacher Man, Me and Bobby McGee, those like big 60s songs with a lot of instruments going on. And I think this is kind of the best version of that. As I was going through the lyrics, I was kind of like understanding what you guys were saying, how this is like a song about society, or it's a diss song about something, because you could almost like, you could take the chorus of this and it's very much about like a change, like a changing of the times in your life, and like how does it feel to be on your own, a complete unknown, to be on your own with no direction home, and just like you're not really sure what the future is going to bring for you. This is probably one of the better examples, or obviously probably the best example of Bob Dylan's writing, and just kind of how he kind of rhymes. My favorite line in this song is, "You used to ride on a chrome horse with your diplomat, who carried on his shoulder a Siamese cat. Ain't it hard when you discovered that?" And just kind of like how he slows down so that he can fit in the rhyme in time. But yeah, textbook pandering at its absolute finest. I'd be curious as to what the magazine or the website is called if this song just never exists. Like, I feel like in alternate universe we're talking about like Strawberry Fields magazine or like Teen Spirit magazine.
500 magazine. I don't know.
I was listening to the song on YouTube, and the first comment was, "The Rolling Stones should make a song called Like a Bob Dylan."
I want that. The Stones are still releasing music. It can still happen. Dreams can come true. But Kirk, any last thoughts?
Yeah, no, I like Brooklyn was saying, just this. I mean, this song. A lot of singers from that era, they throw around the term poet. But I definitely think that's what Dylan is, definitely expressing his chops in poetry here. And and that's why we could talk about it. Like, is it about this? Is it about that? Because it's so deep, it's so visceral. And I think I definitely think it deserves to be, this high, the top 100, top 10, whatever.
All right. Well, Kirk, thank you so much for coming on. We always appreciate talking with you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Kirk.
Have a great night, man. All right, and let's move on to number 3.
Numero 3.
Hey, it's Champs Ellison.
Hello.
I feel like we've gotten to the point where every time someone comes on, it's like, the special guest on a sitcom. You hear the applause. They walk through the door, just like, "Hey guys, what's going on?"
Hear their applause. They check to make sure they're on their mark.
Mug for the camera a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But We move on to number 3, which is "A Change Is Gonna Come" by Sam Cooke. Chance, what are your thoughts on this song?
Yeah, I didn't know this was this high during the re-rank. I hadn't looked at it yet, but Sam Cooke is one of my favorite vocalists just in history of music. I think that there as far as like singers go, there weren't a lot of people quite like Sam Smith. That's Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke. Sorry, not Sam Smith. He's what's about replaceable Sam Smith.
Woo!
But no,
woo!
I like Sam Smith, but Sam Cooke. Let's talk about him right now. I think that this song encompasses a lot of what he was going through because at the time, like civil rights was at its peak, and he like some of his closest friends at the time were people who were at the forefront of that movement: Malcolm X, Jim Brown, Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali. And this song basically encompasses, the environment at the time as well as his own experience because he actually wrote this after, I believe it was about when him and a bunch of friends of his got kicked out of a hotel for whites only, despite the fact that it was after he wrote Big, after he was like a major headlining music act. The fact he could treated this way inspired him to write this song. And I think this song is I think it's immensely powerful. Like you look at some of the lyrics where, it's going through his life and, talking about like his struggles in being a black man in America. And no matter what, he's always like, a change is going to come. And you can really see why it really became kind of the anthem of the civil rights movement at the time, because it's a reflective song. It's a song that really puts you in the shoes of what everyday black people had to go through, but also it's a song that inspires hope. Like no matter how hard things get, a change is going to come if you keep at it. And I think that it's not a song I listen to it very often, but I do think that you could argue that that's his best composition work.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you're saying in the instrumentation. One of the greatest intros. I love that like full sounding band. I'm not sure how I feel about Sam Cooke as a vocalist. He is good, but I would probably put like Otis Redding in that conversation of the greatest of like R&B and soul and whatnot. I like how he falls down. Pull up the actual lyrics because I can't remember them as I'm actually like listening to the song in my head. But where is it? It's been a long time coming, but I know a change is gonna come. I just love how it falls down. And it's like it's a way to like set you into reality in a way. But then that last little line of change is gonna come, it's gonna pop up, and it's that like glimmer of hope. What I agree with Chance in that, like I was shocked that it was at number 3. Where was this on the list last time?
Last time this was at number 12.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, it should probably stay in the top 20. I would argue. But nothing outside of that. No, absolutely. Yeah.
This coming from the guy who couldn't remember the line. It's been a long time coming, but I know.
Fair enough.
The entire point of the fucking song. I can't remember what he's saying. This is why we are where we are, Brooklyn.
This is your fault. But but yeah, I love this song. I actually think that this is a great placement for this song. It's just such a gorgeous piece. But Sam Cooke is he sounds so beaten down on this song that you can't help but just like yearn for this guy. And the one line that I want to bring up is it's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. Jesus Christ, that line hits real hard emotionally. And I think it's just one of those songs about persistence. Like, it's coming. It's coming any day now. It will be here. And just that hope. And I think it's just a powerful, powerful piece because of that. And it's just done to such a beautiful...
Well, and that's the thing that people had to, black people even now had to keep in mind. We're just like, yes, it's hard, and yes, it sucks, and yes, you hate it, but if you keep at it enough, you make progress. And like he was friends with people who show that progress was real, which did inspire this composition a lot. And yeah, like it's this. I think you really feel just like the pain in what he's saying, and like the lyrics, and just really indicative of how he felt at the time, and how his people felt at the time.
Yeah. Any last thoughts before you go?
No, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised to see this is top 3 because I do think upon listening to it as an adult, maybe lived a bit, I do think that this is. I think that very few songs capture the Black experience as well as this one, and I think there's a reason it's such a classic. And I think there's a reason that it will. I mean, hopefully it's not relevant years to come, but I do think people will listen to it continually for years to come.
Absolutely.
The last thing I want to say about this, Bruno Mars owes a massive thank you, and like I think he gets a lot of influence from this song and maybe this delivery, in particular.
Yeah, I think from just Sam Cooke in general. I think you're right.
From a lot of people.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's more more than just Sam Cooke, but absolutely, yeah. You're both right. How about that? Chance, thank you so much for coming. We love talking with you. Have a great day or night. I'm tired.
Well, he's in like Arizona, so it's like
exactly.
It's like almost. It's like evening, sunset, probably.
It's
Actually,
daybreak.
sunset in Arizona would be fucking unreal.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Producer Man, who do we have as our penultimate guest?
Bill.
Number 2 in your hearts.
Always number 2 in my heart, Bill. Speaking of which, number 2 is "Fight the Power" by Public Enemy. Bill, what are your thoughts about this song?
I mean, how to put into words the importance of just this song in general. Public Enemy is always in a fight for who is my favorite hip hop band of all time. And when I was a little kid growing up, like I discovered Public Enemy. I remember like Night of the Living Bassheads was probably like the first song I remember hearing from them. And then, buying Nation Millions, and then hearing this song. And this is a crowning achievement. Like, this is easily their most accessible song, which is surprising given that this is insanely layered of sample on sample on sample of almost the entire breadth of like Black music, like up until that point. It is like African Bambaataa and Stetsasonic and James Brown, and it is just layered all over this thing. And it all comes together. And I mean, this video is just incredible too. It looks like a march. Like it becomes commonplace now. Like it looks like any other time nowadays, but like they really capture what that would feel like. And just a little personal note, this is the main reason why I wear this version of the Phillies baseball cap is because of my love for Public Enemy in this song. And I always think of Chuck D when I wear it. Like that is why I kind of went this way. I mean, I adore this. Like it is just a perfect anthem and I will not speak on the Black experience, just so we're clear, because I am not the person to do that. But this
Chance already left, so
no, but it's just so clear I am not qualified. But it is conveyed in a way that I understand, and to a certain degree. And this is like an absolute anthem and a fight song. Like you will hear this at like big events of like people protesting, and it does speak to the Black experience, but it also speaks to that very time and place of where just race relations were at the end of the 1980s. I mean, we were dealing with like the crack epidemic in the inner cities, the AIDS pandemic was coming through, and these guys beautifully put into words how pissed off everybody was and how everyone was really done with the Reagan era of life in general. And, I believe Chuck D himself always said that like rap was the CNN of for Black for the Black community, and no one probably conveys that more than this band. Because before them, I mean, there were songs with messages, but these guys really hey, we could really lean into the politics and really articulate the struggles of our people and right now, and it's fantastic. It's a fantastic piece of work. It should be number one. That's just my personal opinion, but I'm glad it's recognized and it's this high because it deserves it.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Yeah, Public Enemy is in my probably top five vote groups or whatever in terms of individual rappers. Chuck D is definitely in the top five. Great delivery. I love that son of a pastor approach, kind of from the sermon. Very loud and booming, and it's one that you can't forget. I know that it gets brought up a lot, with this song, but how this intros do the right thing, and that whole sequence, is great. My favorite line of this song, and I think why I ultimately love Chuck D as much as I do. Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me. You see, straight up racist that sucker was, simple and plain. Motherfuck him and John Wayne. Yeah, because Elvis is not that great, and everything that he did was done better by Chuck Berry, by Mama Thornton. But yeah, it's sad that this is still as relevant as it is. You think of obviously, I'll echo the statements of Bill. I can't talk about the Black experience. I can't even talk about how shitty it was to be, how shitty it was to live under Ronald Reagan as a president. I'm not sure what it was. I think I'm gonna go see who we had as prime minister at that time. But yeah, a great song. And yes, we are very white, nerdy in the extreme, whiter than sour cream. But Andrew,
I'm actually sponsored by Ready Whip. So I
actually have a mayo flavor.
Yeah, no, this song is incredible. You know where it was last time? Last time it was on this list, it was at 330.
Well, I'm glad that got corrected.
Me too. Yeah, no, this is easily a top 5 for me. Chuck D and Flava Flav, just the way that they bounce off of each other, it's some of the greatest chemistry you'll ever see in a hip hop duo. Even if Flavor is not really doing a whole lot, whenever he comes in, it's a powerful moment. You brought up the John Wayne line as a good example of that. Yeah, just the production. It's a song that's screaming in your face, essentially. And I think that's what we need sometimes as a society, is someone to just grab us by the lapels and just scream in our face. Are you happy with this? Are you really happy with this right now? We need change. And I think that I don't think that there's a song that does it better than this one. So I'm super happy with it.
Unsung hero, Branford Marsalis, because the saxophone he's playing in the solo, especially in Do the Right Thing, fucking kills it.
Absolutely.
And favorite line for me is most of my heroes don't appear on no stamp.
Yes! Oh, that one hit me real hard.
Fucking... yeah, and it's the truth.
Yeah.
So yeah, as I was looking it up, so the Prime Minister in 1989 was Brian Mulroney, who was very much the Canadian version of Ronald Reagan, a beloved conservative who many people were very happy whenever he was voted out in '93.
Wow. I guess we're not that different after all.
I went to a party when Reagan died, so there you go. Fuck you, Ronald Reagan.
This wouldn't be a Bill appearance if we didn't have something like that to close this out. Bill, last thoughts before you go.
Now, not much. I mean, this song is it's perfect. It's great, and Public Enemy is fantastic, and still putting out records to this day. God bless them. Varying degrees of quality, but Chuck D is still Chuck D, and I will listen to that guy any day of the week. Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Bill. We always love having you. All right. And with that, we're going to move into our final guest, Mr. VHS, Mr. DVD, Nazario Montano, Mike Hanley, the guys who own and operate the video store, CEOs, if you wish. Guys, how you doing today?
All right. Doing good.
Good, good. All right, so let's move on to number what? What?
Huh?
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Uh-oh. Mr. Producer Man's going to make a... He's actually going to appear on screen?
Who's Mr. What?
Who is Mr. Producer Man? All right, let's find out. What, you want me to do... You want me to do the work? Fine, I'll do the work. Jesus Christ, I hate you sometimes, Mr. Producer Man. Here we go.
I'm in danger.
Hello, boys. It's me, Mr. Producer Man. Congratulations on making the end of this list and your show, I guess. I hope you liked the little subtle additions I made to it. I don't know how anyone listened to you guys with Brooklyn and your A chords and B chords and G chords and C strings and the gobbledygook like that. And bar, you fucking pretentious hack. I don't know how many times someone can say like rich, dense, thick, textured, and shit you say and take you seriously. But people listened to you. People watched you. Made me money. Even when you got yourselves demonetized. Fuck you boys for that, by the way. I lost money from that. But just wanted to say congratulations. And those the Hollywood Video Boys? Nazario and Mike?
No.
Hey, you two sexy motherfuckers, I bet you two have yachts in the Cayman Islands as well. Get in contact with me. We should work together. You guys are going places. But otherwise, boys, just want to say congratulations. You did it. Bet you can't do it again. And, keep in touch. Actually, don't.
I hate that guy. I swear to God, I hate that guy.
He's kind of a dick, but I like it.
He was legit chomping on a cigar.
I told you, but no one fucking listens to me. All right, let's get this show finally wrapped up, so I can get away from that guy. Yeah,
20 episodes all come down to this.
Number 1, Respect by Aretha Franklin. Nazario, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on this song?
I mean, I don't respect this choice.
Hey, we did it again! Yeah, he said the name of the song.
He said the title.
So, I get it. Definitely, this is not a song that was meant to speak to me. This is meant to speak to oppressed minorities and females in the 60s. And I can see why it became the big hit that it became. And I can still see why it's such an iconic song that it's, 60 years later, and we still recognize it as soon as it starts. It's short too. It doesn't even get to 3 minutes. It's just a solid beat and a very iconic phrasing that sends a strong message about having to respect people. But here's a list of other songs I would have put instead number 1 here. 184, Weezer's Buddy Holly. 416, Pearl Jam Alive. 409, Foo Fighters Everlong. 279, Radiohead's Karma Police. 179, Pink Floyd Comfortably Numb. Number 48, Radiohead Idiotique. And Nirvana's number 5, Smell Like Teen Spirit. And where the fuck was Bjork in this list? I mean, if we're talking fucking female quality shit, where's my Icelandic goddess? I did not find her.
Maybe she's on the next list that's going to come out in 20 years. I make no promises. Mike, what are your thoughts on this song?
I agree with some of the things Nazario said, with the exception that this is a good fucking song. Any song that teaches you how to spell is good shit. I like it.
I'll go next. I'm going to say the thing that everyone says whenever they talk about this song and they try to sound smart, because apparently that's what I'm good at. Did you know this song is a cover?
Oh yeah, from Otis.
Otis Redding, yeah. This version's better. I love Otis Redding. Otis Redding's like one of my favorite musicians and singers ever, but this version's better. Just like Aretha's control is just insane. And her, when you layer her with like the backing vocals, it creates this like great sound. It's tight. It's got a great groove to it. She sings and falls right into that pocket expertly well. She was a genius, and everyone will tell you she was a genius. This is the song that should prove it. Brooklyn.
Yeah, this is a great song. Like for number one, obviously makes sense. Like this is not like similar to how Johnny Cash took over Hurt from Nine Inch Nails. Like, this is not an Otis Redding song. This is Aretha's. It is Aretha's song. The energy that it has and how she's balancing herself between the horns and like using that repetitive line of like just a little bit. And then you get to this part where they're spelling out RESPECT. Such a nice little build out, but. The thing that I have been waiting to say for 20 episodes, and now I get to say it. What if I were to tell you that Aretha Franklin has another cover that is equally as good as this, if not better, and ultimately fits Aretha Franklin just as well? Aretha Franklin does a incredible cover of Elton John's "The Border" song, and I think it fits it. I think it fits her just as well. It should be on this list, and if you've never heard it, please go check it out. And as cocky as this is going to sound, you're going to thank me later. It's incredible, and it's another great example of how incredible Aretha is as a vocalist. But to end the series on this song, it is great. The lyrics in this are great. The vocal delivery, again, the instrumentation. It's a timeless. This can't be overplayed, just because there's always something fresh and there's always something new to discover.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that being said, thank you, Nazario and Mike, for letting us do this show on your channel.
Yes, guys, you do realize this is a movie channel, right? I mean, you did 20 plus episodes. And I thought you were going to mention like a soundtrack or something.
I mean, Cam brought up Perks of Being a Wallflower this episode.
We talked about Do the Right Thing whenever we were talking about Fight the Power.
Yeah, that's going to be good shit. 2 out of 500. I guess it's all right.
Okay. Well, we brought up Almost Famous when we talked about Tiny Dancer, so that's 3. I think we've reached our quota.
And also, Brooklyn bought our shit, so
yes,
I did buy our shit.
He did. But so to end this off, Ray Raddick was nice enough to do a little cover of the song that she covered on the show. So we're gonna play that off as we say our goodbyes. So let me get this started.
Now here you go again. You say you want your freedom. Well, who am I to keep you down? It's only right that you should play the way you feel it. Beat to the sound of your lonely heartbeat drives you mad. In the stillness of the memories of what you had and what you lost and what you had and what you lost. Oh, thunder only happens when it's raining. Let
don't have a lighter.
All right.
All right. Thank you
That
everyone
was
for
pretty good.
watching. Thank you everyone for watching. Buy Ray Raddick's album. You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Alt Music, Google Music, everywhere you can find music. The video store. Buy their shit. They've been so great to us. They've been very patient with us as well. So we cannot
No,
thank
you
them
guys
enough.
killed this show. You guys did. Yeah, we appreciate you
mean-
coming on and doing 20 episodes of this, man. It's fucking, that's great shit. It's quality shit here.
You killed that in quality and also because it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, list retrospective episode coming out soon.
This is the show that never ends.
But thank you everyone for watching. We love you. We appreciate your viewership and for sticking with two guys who just love to talk about music. It's something that's very important to us. So
yeah, music
And
is,
Bar even changed his background.
Yeah.
He did. The bastard.
Nope,
Yeah.
same. This is the exact same. What are you talking about?
That's just a green screen. We know this.
No, that's Brooklyn's wall right now. Brooklyn, any last thoughts before we head out?
Yeah, music is my biggest passion. I realize that it's a unique kind of branch in this community. But I love having the opportunity to talk about it, and Nazario and Mike for giving us an opportunity. And yeah, and movies bring people together. And I love that about it because there's so much to love, hate, reminisce about. Music is the best drug.
Yeah. So with that being said,
I thought it was cocaine.
I thought it was titties and Jesus.
All of those.
Mountain Dew is
it is Mountain Dew. Brooklyn's right. But so with that being said, and this is going to be a lot of names. Everyone who's appeared on the show, for Dylan, for Scott, for Cameron Holtzman, for Ethan Beller, for Kelly Meehan, Caleb Coho, Jake Marangoni, Cody Newberry, Corey Duguay, Malcolm Godilay, Payson Johnson, Zach Ford, Jeff Faryu, Caleb Boatman, Amaru Moses, Ray Raddick, Jay Burns, David Jimenez, Melissa Woody, Jim Green, Kirk Kolakowski, Chance Ellison, Bill Carriola, Mike Hanley, Nazario Montenegro, Brooklyn Vale, and for myself, Andrew James Barr. Thank you so much for watching and sticking with us through this 3-hour episode. We're done! Keep on rocking.
Drive safely.